Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, man. What a weekend of football, and I definitely do not say that lightly. This was probably the most fantastic football weekend I've ever had outside of any New York Giants event. I'll take away the 2011 Super Bowl and in 07, but outside of that, man, wow, what a weekend of football, man. I think we witnessed the greatest playoff weekend ever this past weekend. Shout out to all the teams that advanced, man. I think this was another weekend defined by quarterback play, although we did have some great quarterbacks going home after the weekend's end, man. Titans, Packers, Bucs, Bills, all out of here, man. Bengals and the Chiefs, 49ers and the Rams will have a shot to play in the Super Bowl, man. I'm very excited about that. If it were up to me, I'm trying to see them Rams go up against them Chiefs, man. This could be a very, very, very high-powered boat race for sure, man. We got 4 games to recap here. We got a lot to talk about. Let me bring in the best co-host in the country, man, the strong side to my left side. What's cracking, The Beard? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. I think my head is still trying to wrap itself around that weekend. I mean,
it was wild.
Every single game ended on the last play. I mean, like, that's literally like a movie. You know, like,
Yeah.
you couldn't make that up. If somebody said that, like, imagine if you could have placed a bet every game will end on the last play. I mean, like, you know, you'll probably get like 40,000 to 1 odds. Like, it just
Facts.
was insane. And, you know, like, I can't say enough about the product that was put out on the field. I mean, it's super exciting. And I only lost one game. The only game I've lost every single playoffs. I lost that one game this weekend, that being that Green Bay San Francisco game. But, you know, we talked a little bit off air. It's kind of crazy because sometimes it feels like people forget to enjoy what they've witnessed. Like,
Right.
Everything kind of just has to have, like, another side to it or a sour nose,
some kind of
this and that.
narrative or something.
Yeah, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, like, how spoiled are we as football fans? You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's crazy because it's like, okay, we're watching a football team, New York Giants fans, right? And we have no dog in this fight. But, like, so, you know, how much more exciting can it be as a fan of the sport? You know what I'm saying? So it's just
That's
for
a
me,
good point
I'm
you brought
just,
up about having no dog in the fight, but I think that people try to find little angles to bring their dog to the fight, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. They're trying to creep in the back door with the dog and let him off the leash. But, you know, look, listen, just have some fun, sit back, and enjoy it. Because what we were able to witness this weekend was it's almost like we're going to go back to the whatever has never happened before has to happen for it to happen. I mean,
That's
that's
facts.
exactly what just happened. And
Yeah,
it
'cause
was
nobody
just like,
could have predicted that one.
Nobody.
Even you. I know you
Yeah.
predicted all your games to be correct except one, and even you couldn't have predicted a weekend like that. I mean, that was just straight fire. When I was tweeting after the Bills game, man, my hands were shaking. I was like, yo, this is a moment that I know. This one of those moments where you gonna remember where you was at. Granted, it's during a pandemic, so most of y'all was probably just at the crib, but you definitely gonna remember you was at the crib when Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes went up against each other, or when Matthew Stafford took care of Tom Brady. It might send Tom Brady into retirement the way things are kind of sounding after these press conferences.
I mean, just the way that everything kind of ended. Because listen, you know, we knew that there was a chance for any of these games to have the outcome that they did, right? And we talked about that on Thursday's show, and we talked about how San Francisco's a scary team, right? But let's be realistic. At the same time, everybody kind of thought Green Bay was the team.
Yeah.
You know, that they were going to go to the Super Bowl this year, just the way that they had played. And it just goes to show you that, you know, it's all about matchups when you get into the playoffs. It is
Yep.
all about matchups, how your team matches up against the other team, and just those sort of things. It's what stories are made of. And there are players that made plays in the playoff games, you know, like those balls that they're going to keep and they're going to put in their trophy rooms or their man caves, you know, at their houses. You know, some of these guys will probably never taste anything like that again. You know, the special teams guys, like the guy who scored a touchdown for San Francisco 49ers. Nobody's ever heard that guy's name ever before in any other time, unless you're a San Francisco 49ers fan, maybe.
That's
But
real,
like,
which kind of brings me to this statement from Dominic. Shout out Dominic. I didn't get a chance to check him out today with Online Big Blue over on their channel. They went live around 4 o'clock. But he says, interested to know what you two think the play of the weekend was. And I think for me, you're talking about it. I think the block punt was the biggest play because you're talking about a game where the 49ers didn't even score an offense on touchdown or a touchdown on offense. So I think for me, that was probably the biggest play. The Cooper Kupp one is kind of right up there with it. But then you also got to factor in Patrick Mahomes, man, 13 seconds left in the game. I actually tweeted this out too a little bit earlier. You see Sean McDermott on the sideline after Josh Allen throws the go-ahead touchdown with 13 seconds left, and you see his assistant coach run over to him. I don't know who this guy is. He's a young guy. He has long hair, and he jumps up to like do the chest bump with Sean McDermott, and McDermott's just kind of like, "Yo, hey, bro, you better relax, man. We're dealing with one of the greats over there." And as sure as it stinks, Patrick Mahomes went down there, drove his team down in 2 plays to get them in the field goal range. Harrison Butker gets that kick. So for you, I'm going to say it's the San Francisco 49ers block punt. What's the big play for you over the weekend?
okay. Now there's so many. Right? I think you could pick one from every game, and like
you got to go with just one. Which one you going for?
Okay, I'm going to go for obscurity. I'm going to go for the rookie kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals, having the Bengals win their first ever road playoff game.
Ooh, and speaking of big plays, I mean, shout out to Eli Apple who made the deflection on that play with Ryan Tannehill dropping back. I think 20 seconds left in that game, makes the deflection. They get the interception.
Everything.
Changed the whole
it's a huge
game.
Play. It's a huge play because that's the difference. That's a split-second difference between making the play of the game and getting a pass interference call. And like as much flack as that guy's caught over his career, I mean, it doesn't matter. You made the play. That's the play.
Yeah,
and
that's the
big
play.
Shout out to Logan Wilson who was active and caught the deflection on the interception. I mean, listen, I'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to that game. I mean, that game's first today, but I mean, listen, shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals front office.
Yeah,
I mean, they have put together a team through the draft and through free agency. I mean, Logan Wilson is his second-year player. I remember him coming out the same draft as Joe Burrow, and in card collecting, the Prism set has all these like random rookies, and everybody was always looking for the Bengal for the Joe Burrow rookie card, and every time you reveal the card, it'd be Logan Wilson. And everybody's like, who's this Logan Wilson guy? And I'm like, this Logan Wilson guy is going to be a guy. And we talked about him numerous occasions this year on the parlay. And he just continued to, he made so many big plays in that game at the linebacker position. It was absolutely amazing. And then obviously drafting Joe Burrow, drafting T. Higgins, sticking with Joe Mixon, Eli Apple's back there, Jamar Chase,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? It's just like they seem to have found a good build to a team. And it's
a good
just,
fountain of youth, man. They're one of the younger teams in the playoffs still here, man, and they're really doing it up.
And the rookie kicker that they drafted in the 5th round. You know what's crazy is at the end of the game, or at some point on that after the game had finished, the Bengals had tweeted out in all caps, "That's why you draft a kicker." I loved it.
That's
man.
a bar for them right there.
I mean, the dude was clutch. He's been clutch all season, right? But I mean that was a performance for a rookie kicker on the road in the playoff game against the #1 seed, everything on the line. I mean, just like, to me, it's crazy because before that Buffalo and Kansas City game, it really just goes to show you how important special teams really are. And like I said, when it comes down to the playoffs, these are the things that matter: being able to run the ball, being able to make plays on special teams, not having penalties. Converting third downs, not turning the ball over. I mean, like, the things that we preach every week.
Execution,
the stats that we give.
The execution is so important. You're not going to get a bunch of second and third opportunities in the playoffs, man, and you see that. When you get those windows and those opportunities, you got to take advantage of them. And when we get into these games, I'll definitely break down some more of those. Y'all know over here at Awthentik and The Beard, I like to talk about those windows that quarterbacks get, where it's like, it's not the obvious window. It's not like, Matthew Stafford at the end of the game there, or Patrick Mahomes, where it's literally do or die. I look more towards those windows, 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left, This kind of makes me think of the one that Aaron Rodgers had late in that game, where they go 3 and out, 2 3-and-outs in the most pivotal time in that game to really set up the block punt and the game-winning field goal by Robbie Gould. But yeah, I mean, we'll get to it. This whole weekend, man, I'm so glad that we're covering the playoffs. Granted, our teams are not in the playoffs right now. Having a weekend like that, and to be able to document it with creating some content behind it, it's going to make me remember these moments that much more. And I'm ecstatic to just have these moments with me, to be honest, man, because that was just like electric football. That was what it's all about right there, man. The Buffalo Bills were right there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were almost there to make one of the most impressive comebacks you will ever see. And Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp do what they do, man. So I'm very excited to get to these games, man. But let's say what's up to some people in the chat real quick, and then we'll get into that first game, that Bengals game.
Yes, sir. Shout out to everybody who's watching us right now on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and, of course, here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while you guys are here. And Coach Taylor, first person here. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
What up?
Senk Zappa is in the building. Thank you for dropping those biceps, my friend. My favorite GQ name in the YouTube chat, Mr. Edward Squires. Great to see you, sir. Thank you for joining by.
Edward, what up?
And Mr. Mini Guy with his patented yo, yo, yo. Every chat, the first time he says yo, yo, yo. Good to see you. And welcome back, Mitchell. I believe is how we pronounce it. Yes,
sir.
Welcome back, Mitchell. Thank you for joining us again.
Shout out to Mitchell one time in the building.
Word Up is in the building. Good to see you, Word.
Day one in the building. What's up, Word?
Dominic checking in from overseas. Appreciate you.
Sir.
Old Man Rob. Big shout out, Old Man Rob. He came by to Over the Years live sale last night, as did No Mets, No Nets, No Jets. Appreciate both of you guys stopping by and saying what's up. Sebastian's in the building. Kareem Yee's in the building.
Yee in the building. What up?
Zach is in the building. Marco Lewis is back. Says salute chat and panel. We appreciate you, Marco. Thank you for joining us. And big shout out to the homie Cernox. Connection is in the building.
Big shout out Cernox.
Cernox was like, look, when football season is over, you and Awthentik got to come down to West Virginia and shop the basement. I'll definitely hook you guys up.
Let's get it, man.
We're going to be out there. We're going to be out there because, I mean, he has got some heat on deck.
Make a little piece of content out of it, man. Bring a camera. Let's get it, bro. I'm with it.
Yeah, it'll be dope for sure. Big shout out to Kai001 in the building. Appreciate you stopping by.
That remind me of my homie Track. My homie Track got a new record he put out like a couple months back called What's Happening. I think is a banger.
Big shout out to Track. I appreciate the shout out on the Washington Bullets hat.
Flames.
I am rocking. I'm all DC love today. I got my Washington Bullets hat. I got my Love DC Go-Go sweater on.
I see you. So, I see you.
Big shout out. Who else we got in the building? Joe Deals is in the building.
Hey, what up, fam?
Joe Deals was in my card show while we were watching the game and doing sports cards at the same time. It was bananas. He'll tell you I was going crazy. It was insane.
That's what's
Appreciate
good,
you stopping by. TVN Sports.
Tough L, man. Tough L for
loss,
TVN
man.
Sports one time.
But you got some pieces over there. So I mean, it was a tough L. But I always appreciate people that come in and show their face after a tough loss. It shows good character. So we appreciate you stopping by and showing us some love. And you got to say what's up to Marjorie Simmons, always holding us down in the chat.
In the building. What's going on, Marjorie?
And Stan the Man is in the building. The Malik Willis talk is heating up.
Sure is.
It's not just heating up in New York. It's heating up here in DC. a little hot in the quarterback kitchen, if you know what I mean. Big shout out to Bubs and Mike B as well, and big shout out to Nick the Wick for the $1.99 super chat. A very positive way to unwind after a very bad day. Hey, that's what we're here for. Offer a space and a place to change that frown upside down on your face.
Tomorrow gonna take care of tomorrow, brother. Tomorrow. There you go.
And big shout out to Sabrina as well. I see you in here, Sabrina.
Big facts.
Platino Power.
Sabrina one time.
And Brian Porras. And
hey, Brian in the building. What's up, Brian? How you living, fam?
Leroy Blood, Sweat, and Cell. What's going on, Leroy? Leroy is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Appreciate you stopping by today, sir.
I heard them talk about All options are on the table as far as the quarterback position goes. So we'll
I
see what the
also
Steelers
read
do.
Dwayne Haskins said that they're going to give him opportunity to be the starter.
That probably lost him the opportunity right there.
That's so Dwayne Haskins.
It's
isn't
so
it?
Dwayne Haskins. Like, hey, we're gonna give you an opportunity. We need you to not say anything about it. Stay away from social media. Da-da-da. Boy goes, has a couple of shots. Yeah, you're gonna give me a shot, y'all. You're out of here. You're out of
Look,
here.
hey, I hope so, man, because I have the biggest stack of Dwayne Haskins rookie cards.
I bet, man. I've been kind of thinking the same thing with Daniel Jones, man. I'm like, man, kind of hoping he can kind of turn it around here, man. That helmet looking real pretty, if you know what I'm saying. Shout out to my guy, The Beard. All right, let's get into this first game, man. This was a real interesting matchup Saturday. This one went off, and then we'll get off into the over-unders that we went over last show as well, too, and see, did you already tally it up to see who won?
I certainly did.
Wait, I can't gauge that real. I really can't gauge that. I can't tell if I'm the winner or you're the winner. You kind of had a little bit of down tone in the voice. I certainly did, so maybe I'm the winner. We'll see. I know I missed on a ton of them, for real. I ain't going to keep it. I'm going to keep focusing.
There's some good games and some bad games. I did hit, guys. I did hit a parlay over under props on Underdog app, and I won $200. I used some of our Awthentik and The Beard over and unders in that, so thank you guys, and thank you to the chat.
Congrats.
I think maybe for this next weekend we'll do a little we'll take that interactive chat to the next level, and we'll let you guys pick one out, and we'll put it on the line for you.
That's what's up, man. All right, well, let's get to this Bengals-Titans game here. The Bengals are going to the AFC Championship game after an interception with 20 seconds left allowed them to get within field goal range. From 52 yards out, the kick was up, and the kick was good from 22-year-old rookie Evan McPherson, who was the difference maker in the Bengals' 19-16 win over the Tennessee Titans. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow was sacked a playoff record 9 times, but did just enough to lead the Bengals to victory. The Titans scored 2 touchdowns to the Bengals' 1, but McPherson's solid boot was the difference on the night. The Bengals will go on to the AFC Championship game to take on the Kansas City Chiefs for a shot at the Super Bowl, where the Bengals haven't been since 1989. Now, that was a long time ago. I was 6 years old. The Beard was 5 years old. Now, last show, I questioned one thing about the Tennessee Titans. Even though I picked them, I was a little bit sketchy about this one thing. How much rust was going to show from the Tennessee Titans? It had been 2 weeks since their last game, and Derrick Henry hadn't played since week 8. Now, the game started off just completely terrible for the Tennessee Titans. First play from scrimmage for them. Tannehill's picked off. And the Titans defense actually held Cincinnati to a field goal, so I kind of thought, okay, maybe they could get away with that. But the 3 interceptions seemed to be a little bit too much for Ryan Tannehill. I'll tell you what I noticed from Ryan Tannehill. I think that in practice, he saw Derrick Henry, and he kind of thought to himself, Derrick Henry ain't quite right. I'm going to need to go out here and go above and beyond these X's and O's. And in doing so, he tried to do a little bit too much. Them 3 interceptions, definitely costly. 2 of them were tip passes. You know, you had the one on the wide receiver screen route that got tipped up that he kind of saw it coming, I feel like. Tried to kind of sidearm it, gets tipped up. And if Ryan Tannehill don't got no wheels, that's going to the house. Thank God he made the stop on that one there. You know, he was 15 of 24 on the day, man. Not too great. 220 yards. That kind of makes me think about some of those over-unders right there. He had the 1 touchdown. And, you know, I just think what he was trying to do was just like, it reminds me of Daniel Jones a lot. This is the one way that I will compare Daniel Jones to Ryan Tannehill. Trying to just do a little too much, squeezing the ball into windows that aren't there. These are things that you cannot do in the playoffs. You know, when you look at how Patrick Mahomes played this game in the playoffs, he played a very safe game, although he put up big numbers. Same thing with Josh Allen. I feel like he played it very safe. You didn't see him trying to go above and beyond and make plays that actually got them, the Bills, knocked out of the playoffs in years previous, you know, where you see Allen 3rd down trying to do way too much, not live to see another down. And Ryan Tannehill, I think, you know, at the end of that game with the 20 to 25 seconds left in the game, you trying to squeeze the ball in that tight of a window. Eli Apple reaches in there, gets his hand in there, the ball gets tipped up, you get an interception, and it's pretty much murder she wrote after that. You know, the Titans also didn't capitalize off their red zone opportunities. They were 1 for 3 in the red zone. The Bengals were just a little bit better at 2 for 3. And third down, man, the Titans struggled all day on third down.
1 of 8.
One of eight on third down. That is not going to get it done, man. And rust-wise, man, you know, getting Derrick Henry back in the lineup seemed like it was a bonus for the Titans team. In hindsight, I think it probably wasn't the right move. I would have flip-flopped it. Derrick Henry had 20 carries on the day for 62 yards. D'Onta Foreman, who looks just like Derrick Henry in a single digit when he's running the ball. He's a big running back with a lot of speed. Listen, man, I really think that D'Onta Foreman could be a starting running back for another team. I know it's a little bit early, but that kid runs extremely hard, a lot of versatility, and there's not many backs like that. You know, he reminds me of that Eddie George style, kind of like a Derrick Henry style. But I would have liked to see this flip-flop. He had 4 carries for 66 yards because he had that one big run. Now, he gets that big run, and I'm thinking, wow, like, you know, the Titans are back in the game. And then Ryan Tannehill throws an interception on the next play. These are things that you cannot do. And it's surprising that they were, like, this close in the game after all these kind of mistakes that the Titans were making in this game. You know, Henry was just getting most of the workload. Where I just think that Foreman, being that he had been there for the back half of the season and done a fantastic job, he's a big reason why they're here in the first place. I know Ryan Tannehill is also a big reason as well, but D'Onta Foreman's a major reason. And you know, the Titans offense, I feel like their playmakers didn't fall short, right? Julio Jones came out there. He showed up on the day with the 6 receptions for 62 yards. And A.J. Brown, the catch that he made for the touchdown and the throw from Tannehill, just amazing throw and catch. Brown showed up, had the 5 catches for 142 yards. To me, that should be enough. But on the ground, you got to get things a little bit more solidified. I think this game, outside of what the Bengals did on offense, and I'll get a little bit to that, but this game comes down to just a few plays. You know, the play of the game for me is the Eli Apple breakup and the interception, right? That's one of them. But then also the fourth down that the Titans don't get where they went to Derrick Henry. It just screams, hey, bro, we're going to hand the ball to Derrick Henry. I think the Bengals didn't even have to think about it that much on 4th and 1. I want to say that was in the fourth quarter of the game. But, you know, just not enough. Derrick Henry, 1 yard. To me, that was for the game. That was literally for the game. Jamar Chase, I'm going to speak on him real quick, and then I'll toss it over to you. You got to look at those players that take a challenge and accept it. At times in the beginning of this game, I didn't know what Joe Mixon was doing. I didn't know what Joe Burrow was going to do with the pressure. You know, he got sacked 5 times in the first half. I'm looking at it like, is Joe Burrow going to be the guy to step up in this game? While all that was going on, Jamar Chase was stepping up, took that stop route, that little wide receiver screen, just doing things on his own. And that's what I like to see from players. I know, you know, in the New York Giants community, we like to look at things and we want perfection around a position. I want the guys that literally can go out there and go above when things are going wrong. And Jamar Chase looked at this like, yo, this is a challenge here. And when he takes that 50, he takes that stop route, he goes 50 yards. I'm looking at it like, wow. They could have targeted him more in this game. I don't know if it was, you know, he was being strapped down by these corners or what, but only 6 targets, 5 catches for 109 yards. I definitely think he was a difference maker outside of McPherson making his game-winning kick for sure. And I think Joe Mixon was effective despite the numbers. You know, the 14 carries for 54 yards looks a little crazy. You're kind of like, at least they committed to the run. But when you look at the all-purpose yards, he had 105 all-purpose yards, 6 receptions on 7 targets, 51 yards on the day. I like what I saw out of this Bengals offense, but it reminds me of what I said about the Bucs. That's not going to be enough to win you the next round. You're going to have to come out and play better football than that in the next round if you're going to want to take care of these Kansas City Chiefs who are coming in super hot. But just big kudos to Jamar Chase, man. I think that he was the backbone of this team. When they were looking around going, who's going to make this play? Our quarterback's running for his life right now. Jamar Chase takes a routine kind of stop route that's used when your quarterback doesn't have time. You're trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly, get it to a wide receiver to make a play, get a couple of yards, hopefully get a first down. And Jamar Chase takes that thing 50 yards. So big shout out to Jamar Chase. I think the Bengals did everything they had to do in this game. They were 0-7 on the road before this game. And shout out to them for getting their first road playoff win as the Bengals franchise. So big shout out to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and I think this is an interesting question. I'm going to let you answer before I talk about the game. Ref the District, shout out to Ref the District, says, would you give up your current quarterback for Ryan Tannehill?
Hell yeah. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. And I know Ryan Tannehill was catching a lot of flack, on Monday morning for sure. Like, he's the reason why they lost the game, and I do think in part he was. But when this happens to a lot of number one seeds when they take the bye, especially when you don't feel like they're a legitimate number one seed. Nobody felt the Titans were the best team in the AFC. Nobody, right? But somehow they managed to get to the cream of the crop and be the number one seed. The Patriots were pushing for that exact number one seed, I felt like, with like 3 weeks left in the regular season as well, too. And I felt the exact same way. They're really not a number one seed, but this shouldn't take anything away from Ryan Tannehill. I don't put Ryan Tannehill up there with the elite of the elite, but I do think he's knocking on the door. I'm not one person that's going to just judge one playoff game and take that and think that is the realm of this guy's career. Ryan Tannehill been doing it for a long time, and last season's numbers prove when he has Derrick Henry on the field, he can put up big elite numbers.
Yeah, and think about, they got that number one seed pretty much without Derrick Henry. So, you got a lot of that is because of what Ryan Tannehill was able to do. And let's not forget, not even just without Derrick Henry. Julio Jones and A.J. Brown were on the field together at the same time for like 3 games during the season, it felt like, So there wasn't a lot of games where they were playing together at the same time. So, he did a lot with what he was able to work with, So definitely can't judge him off of one game. I will say,
and to add to that, to the injury thing you just said, they dressed an NFL record 91 players on their roster this year. So they're not supposed to be here. I saw people saying this about other teams in the wild card weekend round. Eagles, they don't belong here. Pittsburgh Steelers, they weren't supposed to be here. Titans really weren't supposed to be here. I don't know how they did it. It's miraculous that they did it, and I give them props for getting to the point that they did. This matchup just didn't work out well for them, and the rust, man. I think there was rust.
Yeah, you can't turn the ball over like that. I will tell you that I thought it was going to be a Tennessee Titans day immediately, just at the way that they were getting after Joe Burrow. It was crazy. It was this like sack. It felt like there was a sack every drive, if not multiple sacks every drive that the Bengals
definitely
had.
felt like that.
And it was crazy. So the 3 turnovers, 1 for 8 on 3rd down. It's just it's hard to get away from those sort of things, And I think that, a lot of people want to talk about, to me, there's a few plays here, obviously outside of the plays that the Bengals made. Joe Burrow, the fact that he got sacked 9 times and he just kept getting up. And remember, I was saying Joe Burrow might throw for 350 yards, and everybody, we all kind of chuckled at it. 348 yards for Joe Burrow in this game. So, as much
Which
as
I
he was
think
getting
speaks
knocked
a lot
down,
of volume to the wide receiver core, bro. Like, when you think about Joe Burrow's throws, there was nothing. I'm going to keep it funky with you. There was no throw that made me go, whoa. And I actually thought that he made the big mistake that was going to cost him the game, even though it wasn't really on him on the pass to P. Ryan where it got tipped up and it got intercepted. You have to catch that, right? But I like what the Bengals wide receiver core did with short routes, turning them into big plays. T. Higgins on the day, too, man, 96 yards, 9 targets, 7 receptions, taking these routine kind of routes and getting big numbers out of them. And I already talked about Jamar Chase doing the same thing. So, I think Joe Burrow stood as tall as you could possibly stand when taking 9 sacks on the day. And this is a point for them to address the offensive line, for sure. Giants fans, I know y'all was waiting for that one. Y'all wanted, Joe Burrow to get sacked 100 times so he could say, so y'all could say, yeah, the Giants got to spend every pick on offensive line in the first round. But the Bengals did this very unorthodox, man. They went out there in a top 10 pick, picked up Jamar Chase. And to me, without Jamar, I don't care who you got playing left tackle, right tackle. I don't care who you got. They could not have
Chase,
brought.
they're not here.
There's no way they could have brought much of an impact as Jamar Chase did in this game.
Yeah, definitely not. That play I felt like saved them in a way because it was just so bad at that point, with all the sacks and just not being able to get the ball downfield. And a lot of those sacks there's no dump off routes, there's no like underneath stuff because a lot of those routes that they were running, the receivers were all downfield.
Right.
There's no outlet for Joe Burrow, so he's gonna take the sack. So I thought, it definitely was big kudos to that offense for, keeping their head up after getting beat up pretty bad early on in this game. Now, the Tennessee Titans deciding to go for 2. A lot of people want to talk about that instance.
Yeah.
I think, in that situation, that early in the game, I'm not mad at going for 2 there. You get the penalty, you get the ball on the 1-yard line, you have Derrick Henry. You should be able to convert that 2-point conversion. And then obviously when you talked about the 4th down play, what was really interesting was the third down play that led up before that fourth down play. Because on that third down play, they decide to run the RPO with Tannehill and
Oh, yeah.
Henry, and instead of obviously he probably should have given the ball to Henry, but I mean he kept it and he ends up losing the yard. So that 4th and 1 was even shorter on that third down play. So a lot of people were questioning that play call, and not even necessarily just the play call, but the execution of Ryan Tannehill by deciding to keep it and not give the ball to Derrick Henry on the handoff. So, that's a big thing, too. And then going for it on 4th down. That's the difference between your kicker and the kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals, who makes a 52-yard field goal to win the game. You go for it there on 4th and 1 when you could kick the field goal 50. I think it was a 51-yard field goal or somewhere around there.
I thought it was under 50. I thought it was under 50.
Might have been like 49.
Yeah,
somewhere
that's right.
in that 48 to 51-yard range. So that whole play sequence was
on a
crazy.
Cincy 35 with 7 minutes and 21 seconds left in the game. It was tied up from the Cincy 35. So you were looking at a 52-yard field goal, right?
Is that
45, 52? Yeah, 52-yard field goal. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just it's easy to kind of look back at all that stuff in hindsight now, but I mean, those are the things that you have to execute in playoff games, and it's like, I don't know. Yes, it's like you can't win in that situation. If you don't hand the ball off to Derrick Henry on 4th and 1, everybody's gonna be like, "You have Derrick Henry. Why didn't you hand the ball to Derrick Henry on 4th and 1?" And then it's like you hand the ball to Derrick Henry on 4th and 1, and everybody's like, "Everybody knows you're handing the ball to Derrick Henry on 4th and 1. Why are you giving the ball to Derrick Henry on 4th and 1?"
Which is okay. In that moment in time, I'm okay with the 2 play calls because you're going for it on 4th down before you even say hike on 3rd. So to go with the read option on 3rd down, I've seen Ryan Tannehill's big success on that play all year long. Okay, he's had big success on that because they know that the Tennessee Titans they like to run the ball between the tackles, preferably as well too. But I just think, man, Deontay Foreman, man, should have got more carries. To see a guy carry his team into the playoffs and you only give him 4 carries is pretty ridiculous, especially after Ryan Tannehill threw that interception after his big run. It's like, Vrabel watched him get that big play and they never went back to him.
I just, sometimes we talk about this a lot, about the stubbornness of some of these coordinators and coaches and stuff like that, and wanting to die on a certain sword. And I think that's kind of what happened there. I feel like, you say, well, we have Derrick Henry, we're going to play Derrick Henry, and we're going to die on that Derrick Henry decision. And inevitably they did. And I just, they could have won this game for sure.
Oh, yeah, it was right there for them.
That defense played exceptional for most of the game. And the Bengals defense played really good football. Logan Wilson, who I talked about in the beginning, Logan Wilson is having an absolute amazing year. He made big play after big play. He made the stop on the 3rd down and the 4th down and made the interception off the Eli Apple tip. I mean, and the defensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals just played outstanding football. This was kind of more of an old school football playoff game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It reminded you of something in the 90s, especially with the mistakes on the side of the ball for the Titans. It's like I said, man, they're very lucky to even be here, and especially after them 3 interceptions to still be in the game. Once you see Ryan Tannehill kind of off his pivot a little bit, you know what I mean? I just think as a coach, you got to make that decision to limit how much pressure is actually on his shoulders, and to not use Deontay Foreman at all to relieve Ryan Tannehill a little bit after you've seen this in the first half. Derrick Henry not having his typical day, averaging under 3 yards a carry. That's not normal Derrick Henry. So as soon as I realized that, if I'm the coach, I got to make an adjustment. Football is all about adjustments, halftime adjustments, in-game adjustments. And it just seemed like the Titans just never really made the adjustments, and the Bengals did everything for them to have this game. I feel like outside of their wide receiver core having a great day, the Bengals really played average football throughout the day.
Yeah, but they made the big plays when they needed to be made. You know, and the drive to set them up after the turnover, Joe Burrow made a couple of big plays.
Well, I mean that was like I said, man, it was murder she wrote, because when they get the interception and the return, they're in midfield.
Yeah, I think they were on
It's like 3 plays. They right there.
They were
for the
on
field
their
goal.
own. They were on their own 40, I think 40 or 45.
Right, and then he throws like a 10-yard, 15-yard pass. So and homie returned it for a couple of yards. It wasn't tackled right on the spot. So you're in Tennessee territory pretty much right when you get the ball. I know those them kind of like, and I was gonna say this about the field goal kick too, and then I could be done with this game to be honest. But with the kick, it's tied up. I know he's a rookie, right? And there's a lot of pressure going on, but it's like, yo, you're giving me the basketball to shoot the game-winning shot, and the score's tied up, bro. I'm Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm down by 3, there's a little bit more pressure cooking there, And I just don't like the relentlessness that Ryan Tannehill approached the last drive with. I know you trying to get it in regulation, tie game and whatnot, but at the same time, you got to protect the ball. And when you see the route and you see the throw that Ryan Tannehill makes there's nothing there.
Yeah.
He's not open. He's just not open, and I get it, it's one-on-one, and it's Eli Apple. He's probably thinking the same thing, like, oh, that's that dude, Eli Apple. I'm going right at him. But at the same time, man, you got to take care of the ball. And I think if there was a moment where Ryan Tannehill lost his team the game, forget the first couple interceptions. It was that one right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just not a great play, not a great throw, and, definitely not great timing. But, yeah, I mean, it was a good game. Came down to the last play. Bengals made the last play. They win the game. They go on. First road win ever. Shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals. I've been riding with the Bengals, and they haven't let me down yet. It's going to be a interesting matchup, to say the least, here going into
You think they got a shot?
Weekend.
No, look, let me take that back. Do they have a shot at you picking them to win the game?
Yes.
I like that. I like to hear that answer, man. Joe Burrow is one of 3 quarterbacks to win his first 2 playoff games. Plunkett and Troy Aikman are the only other 2 quarterbacks to have ever done that. And like the Beard just said, man, Cincinnati was 0-7 on the road in the playoffs before beating the Titans on Saturday, man. So big props to the Bengals, man. They move on to the AFC Championship. That's going to be a awesome matchup. Can't wait to see it, man. And like I said about Jamar Chase accepting that challenge, I think he's going to do the same thing against this Kansas City Chiefs defense. And I'd look for the Bengals to show you their best offensive output of the playoffs next week against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's real quickly go through these over-unders that we have for this Bengals game. I believe I still got them up here. Yeah, I do. Okay. So we had Joe Burrow over 278 yards passing versus the Titans. He did get that. I picked the under, right?
Yep.
You picked the over?
Of course. Remember at 350.
I got you. Jamar Chase over 1 receiving touchdown versus the Titans. I think I picked the push on this, maybe.
You went under. I took the push, so you hit. I lost.
Let's go. Okay, 1-1 one time. Shout out to Awthentik, the Beard, 1-1. Joe Mixon over 70 rushing yards. He was under this, right?
Yep.
I picked the over, I think.
We both picked the under.
Oh, that's a good one. Shout out to us one time on that one. All right, then we had Jamar Chase going over 80 yards receiving, and he did.
We both picked the over.
Awesome. Smart move. Joe Burrow over 23 completions. He had like 20 at the half I saw, so he went over 23 completions, correct?
Yeah.
That's what's up. We both picked the over, right?
Yep.
Okay, Joe Burrow over 2 passing touchdowns versus the Titans. What did we pick on this one?
I picked push. You picked under. So you hit. I did not.
Let's go. Authentic for the dub one time. Okay. And Julio Jones over 45 yards receiving versus the Bengals. I think I picked the over on this one.
Yep, we both picked the over.
Okay, so we both got that one right. Tannehill over 1 passing touchdown versus the Bengals.
I had the push, and you picked the over. So I hit, and you did not.
Kudos to the Beard on that one. A.J. Brown over 72 yards receiving versus the Bengals.
I picked the under. You picked the over.
That was good.
Smashed.
And the last one was there. I might give you 1 or 2 that we actually didn't do. So if you see one that's not on your paper, just let me know.
Yeah.
But this was the last one. Ryan Tannehill over 235 yards passing versus the Bengals. He went just under, right?
Yep, we both picked the under.
220.
This was the last thing that I needed. Besides the Debo receiving yards in my parlay, and he was driving, and he was right there around that 235 mark, and then he threw the interception, and the Bengals kicked the field goal, game over. So that was, for me, I was so wetting that one out. So after the first game, Authentic on the over-unders went 8-2.
Phew,
And
that
the
boy out here
Beard-
cooking.
And the Beard went 7-3.
You still cooking. You still cooking a little something. I like that.
So, we did,
All right.
that was probably one of our best games as far as the over.
Oh, man, you had to ruin it for me.
No, that's why I said one of. I said one of.
I got you.
There's a couple bad ones coming up.
All right, well, let's get into this Packers-San Fran game next here one time. All right, on Sunday, Aaron Rodgers fell short once again to the San Francisco 49ers for the fourth time in the playoffs in another letdown season for the Green Bay Packers. This was an ugly game with ugly weather, and the 49ers came out with the ugly win, 13-10, without even scoring one touchdown on offense. Rodgers didn't make any big mistakes in this game, but he also didn't make any standout plays for his team. Up 10-3 in the fourth quarter with a chance to put the game on ice, the Packers went 3 and out and had their punt blocked and scooped up for a 49ers touchdown. To me, it was the defining moment of this game. Emmanuel Acho, I was watching him this morning with my man Wiley one time, and he said a great quote, man. I love this. This quote was so perfect for this game. He said, and let me lower this a little bit. He said, the quarterback can be the great eraser, erasing a multitude of mistakes, or the quarterback can be the great mistake, making a multitude of errors. Jimmy G may not be the great eraser, but he is absolutely not the great mistake. I think a lot of quarterbacks could learn a lot from that, because when he's talking about an eraser, he's talking about pencil eraser, okay? You get all these problems, and that eraser can erase things, a la normally in Aaron Rodgers, except when it comes to the playoffs. Now, Green Bay struggled in this game, man. They totaled just 263 total yards, just 67 yards on the ground, man. They averaged 4.9 yards per play. Rodgers was sacked 4 times, and that's not like Aaron Rodgers for sure. I think the weather definitely played its toll in this one. After scoring a touchdown on their opening drive, the Packers went 6 drives before scoring again on a field goal by Mason Crosby at the 9:01 mark of the third quarter. So they scored on the opening drive, and that was it until you got to 9 minutes left in the third quarter. The 49ers, I think they had their own, offensive woes as well. The Packers registered 5 sacks on 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. 4 of those were on third down. So you got to think about how pivotal that is and how that doesn't get to extend drives. The 49ers totaled just 212 yards, 4.1 yards per play, and they went 5 for 11 on third down. This game was pretty boring for the most part of this game up until the end. And like I said, man, I thought the game was over. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I know it was a close game, but I thought Aaron Rodgers was a savvy enough, experienced enough quarterback to be able to put the nail in the coffin for the San Francisco 49ers in this game. And for me, 10-3, 6 minutes left in the game, okay? The score's 10-3. The 49ers go for it on fourth down, and Elijah Mitchell is stuffed. The Packers got the ball back. You up 10-3 with 6 minutes left in the game, and you go 3 and out. And not only do you go 3 and out, this is what I was talking about in the intro of the show when I was talking about those moments for the quarterback. And normally Aaron Rodgers, regular season Aaron Rodgers, can step up and handle this no problem. 6 minutes left in the game, you get a field goal. If you could get a field goal on that drive, that game is virtually over, okay? You're going to be up 2 scores with probably about 5 minutes left in the game. Aaron Rodgers goes 3 and out. Now, their punt gets blocked for a touchdown, and now you're looking at a tie game. And I'm looking at it like, they still got Aaron Rodgers over there with Green Bay, bro. Like, this should be no problem. They follow it up with another 3 and out, and are forced to punt the ball. And I felt like it just wasn't aggressive play calling on the second 3 and out, too. On the third down play, Aaron Rodgers just tries to heave it deep to Devontae Adams, who's down the field in double coverage. It's like they really didn't scheme up. You got to save some of your best plays for your biggest moments. And it seems like the Packers didn't have a play to get out of trouble. And we talked about this on our preview show on Thursday as well, too. We don't never talk about special teams. Ever, okay? And I brought up the one stat, Robbie Gould. He was perfect throughout the playoffs, and he remained perfect.
They kept saying it the whole game, too. I was like, they going to jinx this dude. They going to jinx this.
I thought that. But when you got Jimmy G on the other side of the ball, Jimmy G, all he do is win, bro. Khaled vibes. All he do is win. That's all he does, bro. And that kind of had me a little bit like, yeah, he wins, and he doesn't win on the strength of his own arm sometimes. It's sketchy as hell with Jimmy Garoppolo a lot of the time, but he's getting it done. And I think there's something to be said about winning quarterbacks like that. But we talked about Robbie Gould, man, 20 for 20 on field goal attempts in the postseason right now. Dude is definitely balling out now. And for the second time in 3 seasons, the 49ers are headed to the NFC Championship game. Salute to them. They're going up against the Rams. They're 6-0 in their last 6 meetings against the Rams. So I'm hoping I jinx them because you know I'm a Rams fan, low-key right now, rooting for my guy Odell Beckham. But this game was pretty ugly. I think it came down to that one moment. What else did you see in this one, man?
Well, the Green Bay not being able to run the ball really killed them offensively. They are the most balanced team in the National Football League when it comes to run-pass play selection. So that run game is important to them. It is the catalyst to their passing game, obviously outside of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams being themselves. But, I mean, the pressure was just San Francisco, and we talked about how this is the sort of matchup that can beat Green Bay because the pressure on the quarterback, being able to run the ball, these things that San Francisco does really well, it gives Green Bay problems. And so, you know, not being able to run the ball, not being able to protect Aaron Rodgers, those things definitely hurt you, obviously. And then third downs, 5 of 12. That's just not going to get it done in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the special teams. Everybody wants to talk about the block punt. The block field goal is
just as critical.
Even crazier because you literally
it's not crazier, though. It's not crazier. I can't give you that one. The block field goal is not crazier than the block. The block punt is like, what the hell just happened here?
Okay, yeah, it's crazier in that. in that sense of the word, for sure. But like, it's almost feels like it's more pivotal because you get the turnover and then that literally with barely any time left before halftime, you set yourself up for a field goal, Mason Crosby, and it gets blocked.
Yeah, and what was the score there? Was it 7? It was 7-0, I believe, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was 7-0 because
because they didn't score again until you said in the third quarter. Yeah. So it's just that's just 2 huge, special teams blunders to allow a block field goal and a block punt in the same game in the playoffs. Like this, just you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'll tell you what, there was so much Jimmy G and Aaron Rodgers slander, right? I tweeted out that, you know who won this game? The haters won this game because everybody who wanted to hate on Aaron Rodgers for whatever his whole COVID situation and, this is karma and da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, my God.
I'm like,
man, people are so immature,
Get over it, okay? You know what I'm saying? So, and then the Jimmy G is horrible and Jimmy G is garbage and Jimmy G this and Jimmy G that. Well, you know what? Jimmy G's playing in the NFC Championship game.
Did you see the clip that I posted from Craig Carton and Evan Roberts from WFAN when they were talking about Jimmy G last week, actually? And Craig was trying to tell him, like, yo, like, I don't understand a guy who just wins. Yeah, he doesn't have the big statistics, but why does he receive so much hate from different people who are outside of the San Francisco 49ers fan base? His co-host is like, Jimmy G stinks. This is why I avoid saying stuff like this.
And people be telling me that was one of my biggest issues I had, and I've when you do what we do, like, eventually you realize, like, these guys are they're playing in the National Football League, okay?
Yep.
To say somebody stinks is just you can't. There's you make mistakes, okay? That's what happens, okay? You make a bad play. You don't stink. If you stink,
I think you got to reserve that talk for the teams that aren't in the playoffs, right? And the quarterbacks that lead those teams, right? If you want to say this year, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence stunk it up. Okay, I'm okay with that, right? But when you repeatedly try to say a player stinks or a player sucks or this guy's garbage, I learned this through the music industry. I used to be like that. I used to be one of the people like, yo, this album is garbage, cuz, and then eventually come back to you and you be like, I didn't really mean it was garbage. I just meant I wasn't really feeling it, right? So you kind of got to watch out because you can't throw rocks if you live in a glass house, right? You totally just can't do that. And we are spectators sitting on the couch. Sometimes for me, when I see a lot of the slander that quarterbacks or just players in general get, it speaks more volumes to the person who's speaking about them than it does about the person that they're talking about. You know, if you wake up in the morning and you just got hate on your mind to go right at Aaron Rodgers, like, he stinks, he's a terrible playoff quarterback. It's like, my dude, like, maybe the home field advantage is not an advantage for Aaron Rodgers. You know, I mean, I know he plays for Green Bay, but, yo, if I move to Green Bay, I'm going to keep it funky with y'all. I want to play my games in Miami, okay? I'm not trying to play on the frozen tundra trying to throw the football.
It wasn't like Aaron Rodgers went out there and threw interceptions. It wasn't like Aaron Rodgers fumbled the ball, like after he threw the ball to Mercedes Lewis, who fumbled the ball.
I hated that. That was his only catch of the day, too.
It's like he was 20 of 29.
Yeah, he just didn't get the touchdown. He played clean ball. It's the expectations. It's what we were talking about off air about Patrick Mahomes. People set that bar so high that if you're just like banging on the ceiling of that bar, it's not good enough anymore because it's just like Saquon Barkley. I can remember people saying this about Saquon, like, oh, you know, now he's a bust because he's not playing football the way he was in 2018. But let's keep it funky here. Saquon ain't no bust. He's not playing to the bar that he set for himself. I understand that we should hold players accountable, but at the same time, they set that bar with great play. So then to kind of try to reverse and flip it on them, to me, is kind of strange. Aaron Rodgers struggles in the playoffs. I get it, right? I do think that the cold has something to do with it. When you look at this game, this dude's mustache was frozen throughout the whole damn game, light flurries of snow coming down the whole time. I know what it's like to play in them kind of games where you're playing football, bro, and it's freezing. Did you see his undersleeves, bro? He looked like he was wearing a crew neck underneath his jersey with the baggiest sleeves.
He's getting chased the entire time, too. You know, and it's like Aaron Rodgers usually is good, and that's why I'm glad that you said that the way that you did after the 5 sacks. Well, I think you said that's not it's unusual for Aaron Rodgers, I believe is what you said after him being sacked 5 times.
Yeah.
Because typically he's one of, if you look at Aaron Rodgers' incompletions, 50% of Aaron Rodgers' incompletions are throwing the ball away. And that's from him being able to get away from the pressure or making a play with his legs for a few yards, you know, or being able to throw on the run. He can do all those things. But those things become a lot more difficult in snow.
Let me address one real quick. My man Sarson here says, please, Rodgers blew it almost like he forgot to play after the first touchdown. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't fall short in this game. If you're a viewer of this channel and you remember last playoffs, I was one of the only people talking about Aaron Rodgers blowing that third down where he had that open lane to run it and he didn't run it, and people were looking at me like, bro, you tripping, bro, you tripping. So when it comes time to give people you know, the right amount of blame that they deserve for a game, I'm going to give it to him. Aaron Rodgers, to say that he didn't show up in this game, though, would be a little bit harsh, I feel like. Because, like the Beard just said, 20 of 29 for 225 yards. Yeah, he had no touchdowns, but he played clean football. No turnovers on the day. The supporting cast did not help him. Aaron Jones had 41 yards on the day, but now he was his number 1 receiver coming out of the backfield. He had 129 yards, if I got that right, on 9 receptions. A.J. Dillon, 7 rushes for 25 yards. That's not playoff ball. Devontae Adams, 9 for 90. That's what we expect, okay? Lazard didn't show up in this game. They were talking about Lazard all week leading up to this game about how good he's been playing as that second guy, and he doesn't show up, and then Mercedes Lewis with the fumble. So all I'm saying is, I say all that to say this. You cannot just take one game from a player, and I know this is what it's the latest thing that you can remember from Aaron Rodgers, but you can't take – I saw somebody earlier in the chat say Aaron Rodgers isn't great because of this loss. That's crazy. You can't just take somebody's career and just completely dismiss it because of 1 or 2 or even 4 playoff games where they don't show up. I just think that that's unfair. Aaron Rodgers gets it done in the regular season, but when it comes down to the playoffs, that's when you get around the best of the best competition, and unfortunately, somebody got to go home, and in this game, it had to be Aaron Rodgers. You can't sit here and say the other offense beat him. He literally lost this game to special teams blowing the game for him.
What are we gonna? What are people? You're gonna sit here and say those things about Jim Kelly, Hall of Fame quarterback, who made it to the big game 4 times, and lost 4 Super Bowls?
We can't do that.
And then the Aaron Rodgers choke. Let me tell you, there's one thing that kills me the most about people using that word in sports. When somebody chokes, okay, that's like missing a wide open layup, okay, with nobody around you to win the game.
That's 2 free throws to win the game. You down 1.
Yeah, that's like dropping a wide open pass or missing a wide open throw to win the game.
Yeah.
Choking is used completely
We
too
talked about this.
loosely,
Shout out to
and
Marjorie because we talked about this last season, yo.
it's just I can't there's no way that anybody can sit here and say logically that Aaron Rodgers choked
Yeah.
because he didn't choke. It
Yeah,
didn't.
there was never a moment. This all I would say. The 3 and outs are crazy. The 3 and outs
How
are
much
crazy.
of that is? The play calling was a little weird too.
For sure. Play calling was definitely strange. This is a very young coach. I want to say he's in his 3rd season with the Packers, I believe. I think it's his 3rd season. But I mean, I wouldn't use the word choke either. He fell a little bit short. This the thing. You expect to see better play out of Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game. But sometimes you get weather circumstances. Nobody said nothing about Josh Allen when he fell short against the Patriots and they only ran or they only threw the ball 3 times in a snowy, cold game. Nobody was saying, yo, Josh Allen out there choking. Nah, they're not going to say that. But I think this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. When you set the bar for yourself and then people want to meet you, they want you to meet those expectations
all the
that
time
you've set for yourself, then they want to call it a choke. I get it. So I don't think it's an overreaction or anything like that. But at the end of the day, for me, I can only give you my opinion on this. Aaron Rodgers didn't choke in this game, but he didn't show up. That's the thing. It's like if Jordan come out and put up 18 points and shoot, 60% from the field, we kind of looking at it like, man, you supposed to do a little bit more in a loss for your team. I look at this game like if you want to look at some choking, the special teams for the Green Bay Packers and that whole unit definitely choked this game away because the Packers should have came away with the win. And in that case, nobody's going to say, hey, Aaron Rodgers fell short when he was 20 of 29 for 200-plus yards.
Absolutely not. And, the last thing I'll say about this game is that it goes back to the first thing that I said when we opened the show. The playoffs is about matchups, okay? If you've ever filled out a men's basketball March Madness bracket, the thing they always talk about is this team has the easiest road, the easiest path, okay? And then the other teams are like, this team played an absolutely amazing season. He gets the 8th seed, they get the 9th seed. This 9th seed doesn't even play in a major conference, but the way that they play, their style of play matches up and is a difficult game for that other team that any other normal circumstance you would think would win the game. But because of the way that those teams match up against each other, the style of the play, the players on opposite ends of it, it just is very difficult to come away with the win. The San Francisco 49ers, we talk about it time and time again going through these playoffs and in the playoffs. They are a team that you don't really want to play. You can beat them. You should beat them, but you are not always going to be able to beat them because of that defense, because of the run game, because of the weird plays. And I know I think you tweeted it. I think I tweeted. I said Green Bay's they're messing up because they're leaving room for San Francisco to do something San Francisco-ian.
Oh yeah, right after the 3 and out, I said it. That's the most pivotal sequence of that game. 3 and out, then your punt gets blocked, then you get the ball back and go 3 and out again. That was it. To me, that was it right there. And the 49ers, dare I say they got a little bit lucky in this game, man. A block punt, a block field goal. Aaron Rodgers kind of falling short there towards the end of that game. It's a tough one, man, because the weather. That was an ugly game, and it is hard to throw the football in those kind of conditions. But these are the best of the best athletes, and I think fans should expect nothing but the best from them. And that's what we expect from Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's why, you're getting a lot of the choke talk. People, we like to over-exaggerate a little bit, I'd say, when we're speaking on things. I've on Twitter, it happens all the time. So I get it, but to look at it realistically and to define Aaron Rodgers by this moment, like if you didn't know before this game your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and then you saw this game and then you said, oh, he's not great, I think that's just a little bit of a reach for me. Aaron Rodgers is still one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game. And I've always told you this, he has had help over there. He's had weapons over there for sure, but they always have failed to build a complete team around him. I don't know if it's because of the small market or what is happening with Green Bay, but not some big names on that defense, even though their defense definitely held them in this game. And the running game just fell a little bit short. Aaron Rodgers needed that backbone. I also saw somebody in the chat was saying that Aaron Rodgers was just playing like not to lose the lead. And I think in an ugly, scrappy game like that, sometimes you kind of got to do that. But at the end of the day, though, them aggressive teams, on divisional weekend won the games. The aggressive teams won the game. And it just so happened that it worked out like that. Sometimes you can win games by being conservative, but I got to agree with some people in the chat on this, that the playoffs is the time to be aggressive, but also to be, when you take those risks, right, you got to do them with balance. If you look at Ryan Tannehill, that could have been Aaron Rodgers. Imagine if Aaron Rodgers has 2-3 interceptions in this game along to go with this loss. They'd really be coming for his neck, saying, hey, this guy is not great, and he always folds and chokes in the playoffs. Instead, he did play kind of a game where it was like, I'm trying to not make the big mistake. And I talked about that in the intro as well, too. Patrick Mahomes did a really good job of that until the last drive where he said, hey, man, we got to put the women and children to bed and go hunting for dinner with 13 seconds left, and they do it. Now, that game, they weren't dealing with the crazy weather. And I can't sit here and just blame it on, oh, man, it was snowing. Aaron Rodgers is a straight-up bum when it's snowing. But that does factor in a little bit. I don't know if this will be the last time we see Aaron Rodgers playing for a bid to get into the championship game. I hope it's not. I don't think the Packers are in desperation mode where they're going to have to kind of blow this thing up and go into a rebuild phase. But most importantly, the Packers got to find a way to bring back Aaron Rodgers over there because he's what makes this offense move. We saw it earlier on in the year when Jordan Love came in for a game where Aaron Rodgers had COVID, and their offense looked like the Texans, bro. So, for me, you got to figure out a way to bring back Aaron Rodgers. Don't allow him to go to a team like the Colts or something crazy like that because then you're going to be doing a Peyton Manning type thing where you're going to be watching your quarterback win a Super Bowl with another team.
Yeah, and like the lucky part, you say it, and it's just like sometimes you need a little luck to win these games. It's just, and San Francisco seems to be that team. And just going into this next matchup, it's going to be –
And like I said about the Bengals, that's not going to be enough to win that championship game. Check this out. Jimmy Garoppolo, 11 of 19 for 131 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Elijah Mitchell had 17 rushes for 53 yards, 3 receptions for 18 yards. Deebo Samuels had 10 rushes for 39 yards, 3 receptions for 44 yards. George Kittle had 4 receptions. That was every offensive stat for the San Francisco 49ers outside of Juwan Jennings, who had 1 reception for 6 yards. That ain't going to get it done. So I think that the 49ers got a bit lucky in this game. They made the big plays to, especially on special teams, to see their way into this NFC Championship game. I think that this could have went either way. I know, listen, Aaron Rodgers, the only time that he made it to the Super Bowl was when every game was on the road. I know he's thinking about this, like this whole cold tundra thing is not a home field advantage for me. I've had horrible games. Giants fans can speak to it. We already know what we did to them over there on the coldest day in Lambeau history. We took care of them. So, for me, I think Aaron Rodgers has to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out a way. He just got to try to figure out a way to do it with Green Bay. I don't think he's the kind of guy that should go to another team and retire with another team. I think he's got to just figure it out. And if he can figure it out and get himself into another Super Bowl, I think people will look at it a lot like they looked at John Elway. You remember when John Elway got to that last Super Bowl with Terrell Davis? People was kind of questioning what John Elway could do at that age, especially at the quarterback position. He got to the Super Bowl, rode off into the sunset, got the win. And the rest is history. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do something similar to upkeep the legacy of what he's built so far as a professional quarterback in the league.
All right. $9.99 super chat says salute fellas. Another win for us in the bag. Shout out to you for the W. Just want to thank both you guys for all your support and sincere friendship. Paisano from our entire team.
Big salute to the homie Tudo, man. Congratulations on the W, man. That's what's up. I think he said they got a 3 or 4 game road trip they on right now, man. Just keep it up, Tudo. You know what it is, man. We got your back over here at Awthentik and The Beard 1000, my G.
As always.
All right, so over-unders? Let's get it, man. Let's fly through these. All right, so we had right here. All right. Aaron Rodgers over 285 yards passing versus the 49ers. I think I took the over in this one.
Sorry, I thought I had the right page, but I don't have the right page.
You good. Take your time, man. Take your time, bro.
This is what happens when you write things on paper in a little notebook.
Yeah, right, check the Sandlot when you get a second.
Got it. Say that one more time.
Check the Sandlot.
The Sandlot?
Sandlot.
Sandlot. Okay. I'm confused.
You tell somebody something, they forget it right off the bat, man.
Oh, no. Okay, got you. All right, yes. 285 yards. I took the under. You took the over.
I took the under on the 285 yards, or
Nope,
you did?
you took the over.
You took the under, I took the over. Reset your Ableton one time. That's what I was saying with the Sandlot.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
All right, next one up was, man, there were so many over-unders. Okay, Devontae Adams over 100 yards receiving versus 49ers. I took the over.
We both took the over.
Terrible. All right, Aaron Jones over 55 yards rushing, 41.
Yeah, we both took the over.
Aaron Rodgers over 3 touchdowns versus 49ers.
Well, actually, I took the under.
I bet you did. I bet you did. All right, Deebo Samuel over 110 yards from scrimmage versus the Packers. I took the over on this one.
As did I. And we did not hit.
Elijah Mitchell over 16 rush attempts versus the Packers.
17.
Woo! We both took the over because he had been getting a lot of carries leading up to that game.
Yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo over 1 interception versus the Packers. What do we have on this one?
I took the push and you took the under. So I win, you lose.
Ain't nothing worse than hearing somebody say, I win, you lose. Jimmy Garoppolo over 225 yards passing.
You took the under, actually.
Yeah, I'm only giving the boo because he didn't make it over.
Oh, okay. Got you. So, yeah, I took the over, you took the under. You win, I lose.
I win, you lose. Deebo Samuel over 55 yards receiving versus the Packers. He had 44 yards. Both of us failed on that one, right?
Yeah.
George Kittle over 50 yards. I think we took the over on this one.
Yes, we did.
Nice. That's a good look. And that was it for the San Francisco 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. So what was the score of that game for us?
Well, you went 3-7 on that one. And I went 5-5.
5-5 is not too bad, man, considering my 3-7. So now you're one game up, or one pick up in the total grand scheme of things here.
You're 11-9 after the first 2 games, yeah, and I'm 12-8.
Sounds good, man. All right. These over.
This one might end like this weekend's games.
You already know the outcome. I don't like this. Imagine Patrick Mahomes knowing he's going to win the game. God, it hurts my soul. I just have a feeling I'm not going to win, and it really bothers me. All right, let's get to this Rams-Bucs game one time. Shout out to the graphics department. Y'all know what it is over here at Awthentik and The Beard. Let's flip this up one time. Running out of a little instrumental. Only had about 10 seconds left on that one, so we had to run it back. All right. When the Los Angeles Rams acquired Matthew Stafford in a blockbuster trade last winter, the veteran quarterback said he wanted to play in big games, an opportunity he rarely received during 12 seasons with the Detroit Lions. Stafford and the Rams, fresh off a dramatic 30-27 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium, are now one victory away from the biggest game of them all. And they nearly blew their chance to get to the NFC Championship game, losing 4 fumbles and losing a 27-3 third-quarter lead to Tom Brady and the defending champions before Stafford led a 63-yard drive in the closing seconds to set up the game-winning field goal. Now, I want to make up a couple excuses here for my man Tom Brady, which is normally not like me. But no Ronald Jones in this game, no Chris Godwin. And I don't know if you guys got wind of that podcast that Antonio Brown was on just a couple of days ago. It was just some young boys who seemed like they had some money, because every couple of seconds they were just like, yeah, come on back, Antonio. We got the bag for you, bro. It seemed like they were just paying him a grip of money to be on their podcast, because I'd never heard of these guys in my entire life. But Antonio Brown said on their podcast, Tom Brady needs me to do what he does. And it seemed like that wasn't more apparent in this game. Tom Brady definitely needed some help from his receiving core outside of Mike Evans. But what were your thoughts on this game? I'm going to let you get this one first, The Beard, so I don't steal too many nuggets off your plate.
Well, we talk about all of those weapons, but the most important player that was missing for Tampa Bay in this game was Tristan Wirfs, the right tackle. We talked about it, how it was going to be an issue if he was not able to play.
Facts.
And it was evident from the beginning. Now, obviously, Tom Brady was able to avoid some sacks because I think they only ended up with 3 sacks, but they were pressuring him the entire game.
Yeah.
And obviously, it played a role. And it was Von Miller had himself another big game. He has proven to be a great pickup.
Facts.
He has just continuously putting up quietly too, because I think we talked about this last episode. How come nobody's talking about Von Miller? Like, I mean, the guy has literally come over there and had a sack in almost every single game.
When you set the expectations for yourself, the beard.
It's like, it feels like every show without even having a theme of the show, we eventually end up with a theme for the show. So I always love that about us. But Tampa Bay's penalties. That was a big problem in this game as well. Obviously, you had the Ndamukong Suh penalty on Matthew Stafford, which led to another Cookie Monster, which led to
He did kick him, though. He did kick him.
He did give him a little.
He kicked him.
It wasn't like it wasn't,
You know when you get into a fight when you were a kid and you just, you outmatched, you just lay down on your back, start kicking your feet.
They're cool too, aren't they?
I mean, they were on the same team. I don't know if they cool, but it didn't look cool the way he was saying, "I'll kill you, motherfucker."
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got to keep it cool in these games, man. You know how it is. They never catch the first guy. It's always the second guy. That's how it works.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
So true.
So, and then Tom Brady with his first ever personal foul penalty in his career. And listen,
surprising.
He got hit too. He got hit in the mouth.
Bloody lip, bleeding his own blood.
He's like, hey, man, look at my mouth. Man, I tell you what,
he was like running with the You know what's funny is, I think this is the funniest thing in football, right? Like when you don't get the call, right? But you and the ref both got to run up to the line of scrimmage, to like keep, keep it moving pretty much, right? And you see Tom Brady's just like running. He's like, him and the referee are literally like side by side, stride by stride, like literally having a disagreement. I thought it was amazing.
And what's funny is they love they love Tom Brady. The broadcast, no matter what channel they're on, they love Tom Brady. Man, they showed that up close picture of him, bloody lip, gray sideburns,
slow-mo, all that.
Slow-mo, man. They showed that thing about 6-7 times. But I mean,
said Sue hates everybody.
and I will tell you that also there's a few other things. Obviously, Jamal Dean penalty was a huge penalty. The pass interference penalty on Van Jefferson on the double move. There just was too many mistakes by the Rams team, and obviously, by the Bucs team, the Rams team had their own handful of mistakes. But the difference is Tampa Bay couldn't capitalize off of the Rams' mistakes to the full extent.
Yep.
Whereas the Rams were able to, capitalize to the full extent on Tampa Bay's mistakes. Now, obviously, Matthew Stafford, I don't want to hear no more Matthew Stafford slander, okay? Because I'm tired of it.
They wanted Matthew Stafford to choke in this game, too.
Yes, of course they did. Yeah. Listen, I'm tired of it. I want it no more. No more Matthew Stafford slander. The dude made, and obviously, the coverage was blown, or Cooper Kupp got wide open, and they missed Cooper Kupp. But if he underthrows the ball, you're gonna blame him. So when he throws the ball right on the money, he doesn't get the credit. That's not how it works.
That's one of the harder throws to make and catch.
And it was a great catch.
Over the shoulder, in stride. The coverage was good. Coverage was right there. He made the tackle right after he caught the ball. It's just the call was a little bit crazy. Obviously, you don't want to be one-on-one with. Why are you one-on-one with Cooper Kupp with that little bit of time left?
Look, I saw more than one occasion in these games today where at the end of the game that for some odd reason the playmaker was the catch that Jamar Chase made, the last catch before they kicked the field goal. He was on one-on-one coverage too.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
Now I know why. I know why the Bucs did it. You know why the Bucs did it?
Why?
Because they sacked Matthew Stafford the play before, right? And they smelled blood. Yeah. They were like, "Ooh, we put the pressure on him. Maybe we could get the ball back real quick here and maybe get ourselves in the field goal range." They thinking that Tom Brady vibe, right? Kind of like how they was thinking with Mahomes, 13 seconds left in the game. They thinking Tom Brady, let's put some pressure on him. Maybe we make another play. Maybe we can force a mistake, get the ball back. They send a blitz. Matthew Stafford made him pay, man. I got some numbers for Matthew Stafford against the blitz. I'm going to try to find them. I know, he was 10 of 15 against the blitz for 120 yards and a touchdown. I don't know if you remember when we talked about this preview.
He was
we
number
talked
one
about
against
he was
the
the number one
blitz.
quarterback against the blitz, and we were talking about the number one blitzing defense in the NFL being the Bucs. Matthew Stafford was ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, he was 100% ready for this. He wanted this. That's why he came there. You know, he's got the weapons. You know, OBJ made a fabulous play in this game.
Man, I love seeing OBJ getting it right now. I love it.
We're big OBJ guys here. You know what I'm saying? And then listen, Cam Akers had a tough game. You know,
very tough.
The first fumble was all right. You know, like. It was
the one where
play.
he's kind of falling to the ground a little bit.
Flipping over.
Yeah. Like this close to being not a fumble.
Yeah, the second one was that was a bad play on his part. You know, he wasn't secure with the ball.
Good strip,
got knocked out. You know what I'm saying? And obviously that run defense was stout, but I thought they did a great job of mixing in the run enough to open the door up a little bit. But, you know, like on a lot of those blitzes, you need your running backs to pick up those blitzes. I thought it was really obnoxious of Chris Collinsworth to try and blame the fact that they were about to lose the game, even though they won the game, on Cam Akers, and saying that, you know, I forget the exact quote it was, but it really rubbed me the wrong way. It's just like, you know, it's going to come back to bite them that they had faith in Cam Akers after the first fumble.
I mean, listen though, he's got some leadway there. Cam Akers This is Cam Akers' worst game I've ever seen.
Yeah, but how many times?
Go ahead.
How many times do we talk about how, you know, like there's a certain time when you bench a player, right, when they fumble the ball, but then sometimes the way that you get over that is you keep giving them the ball back. They were up by whatever many points. There was Cooper Kupp fumbled. You know what I'm saying? The bad snap.
But Cooper Kupp didn't have a bad game.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest difference.
Game.
Cam Akers, 2 yards per carry on the day. He had 24 carries for 48 yards. That's trash.
Yeah,
that's trash.
I mean, like I said, the run defense stepped up.
The one fumble in the first half is one thing, okay? Because to me, that was a pivotal point that allowed the Bucs to get back in this game in the first place, because that's right before the half. If they go on and they score a touchdown, this game could have easily been like 50 to like 10. If they score a touchdown there and they play a clean game throughout, this game wouldn't even have been close. But Cam Akers' fumbles definitely gave the Tampa Bay Bucs a shot in this game. And this kind of reminds me of the Tennessee Titans thing. You got a guy coming back off injury. Yeah, he's a stud of a running back, okay? We know Derrick Henry, Cam Akers. Cam Akers really made a name for himself last year in the playoffs. You remember, he was balling out, right? Now, you want to get these guys involved. I think it's a coaching mistake to try to rely on them rather than trying to get them involved. Did Sony Michel get hurt in this game?
I don't think so.
I don't remember Sony Michel getting hurt in this game. 1 carry for 4 yards? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, especially considering the way that they handled that sort of distribution the week before, which is what I think both of us were expecting distribution-wise in this game.
And Cam Akers, like 13, yards 14. Per carry last week wasn't good either.
Yeah.
But we see it. You saw a spark from Cam Akers, and I'm not taking away from his playmaking ability, but I do think you got to find a way to adjust during the game. When you see fumbled one time right before the first half, that's not a reason to put him on the bench, don't get me wrong, but it is a reason to start looking at the other guys and saying, hey, maybe I can get a spark from one of these guys.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you
I think maybe Chris Collinsworth is maybe a little bit like overstepping the line and whatnot, but it's kind of in the right, because if they lose this game, they're not looking at Matthew Stafford as a reason why they lost. They're not looking at Cooper Kupp.
I know there will be some people that wanted to, though.
Oh, they will be, but then they'll look at the numbers and go, okay, 366 yards, 28 completions, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The snap goes over the side of his head or whatever. That's not on him. Odell Beckham came out there, balled out with the 6 catches for 69 yards. Cooper Kupp had 183 yards receiving. There's no way in hell they're going to be like, his fumble came back to bite him. So offensively, you really got to look at Cam Akers. I think he was the weakness on this offense, to be honest. But I do think he presented some difficult matchups as well for the Bucs, but just not on his A game. And that's not going to get it done. Can't be fumbling next week, bro. You can't. That's just what it is. No. Playoff football, you can't be fumbling. Saquon Barkley had his first fumble of his whole career that he lost this regular season 3 years into his career. Cam Akers got 2 fumbles in the biggest game of his life that he came back off the biggest injury of his life. And granted, this was like some miracle working type recovery that this guy's dealing with as far as the Achilles. To be out there is an accomplishment of its own, but you got to take care of the ball. The second fumble, I don't even think that was a lot like, I want to say not his fault, it's a great play by the defender, right? But you got to hold the ball, man. This is the NFL. You can't be fumbling. You know every play they're coming at you and they're coming for that ball. And I think, he could have maybe got over the 2 fumbles, but to be averaging 2 yards a carry, 24, they committed to you for 24 carries, bro, and you couldn't even break 50 yards.
Yeah. It was not his brightest day for sure.
Definitely not.
But
Definitely not.
But it is a team sport. And kudos to Matthew Stafford. Kudos to Odell Beckham, Von Miller, all these guys
Von
who are
been balling.
basically under an absolute microscope because of the way that this team was orchestrated and put together. So shout out to all of them. Tough loss for Tampa Bay. They just, without their right tackle, it just was a tough battle. Big shout out, though, to Mike Evans. Mike Evans did everything he possibly could in this game to keep that team in it. And obviously, they came back. They never quit. I mean, obviously, that, like you said, that game could have gotten way out of hand. And I don't think there is a soul in America, as a matter of fact, a soul in the world that was watching that game that didn't think that Tom Brady and Tampa Bay was going to end up winning that game when it got down to that sort of situational where they were basically going to win the game.
Yeah, when you felt the momentum switch, it was definitely scary. Odds were kind of kicking in for me. I was like, you gonna do this twice? Can somebody really do this twice? There had never been a time where a team had blown a 24-point lead with 4 fumbles and lost the game ever. That's never happened. Or won the game.
Yeah.
Every time a team has fumbled 4 times and blown a lead like that, they've lost the game. So, I got to give the Rams some props and Sean McVay for just holding it together in a moment where the pressure is just straight cooking. I mean, just straight up cooking. And I got a little nugget about Matthew Stafford as well. So Stafford, this was his 43rd game-winning drive in the fourth quarter or in overtime of his career. That's the most of anybody since he entered the league in 2009. Matthew Stafford has been doing this. He knows how to handle these bright lights and these bright moments. He just hasn't been in the bright lights that much in front of America because he's played for the Detroit Lions. I love that last drive, to go to your main guy, because you got to think about this, man. When the game is in a loom at a time like this, right? He goes to his number 1 guy. Like, Cooper Kupp is the guy that y'all should be stopping. He goes to Cooper Kupp for 20 and then for 44 to set up Matt Gay for the 30-yard game winner, man. Stafford really showed resilience in this game. I was watching Undisputed this morning with Skip Bayless, and Skip Bayless was saying how Matthew Stafford was ready to unravel pretty much in this game. He was saying how he only had 70 yards passing in the second half before he hit Cooper Kupp on the 2 late throws. But for me, man, this kind of goes back to what people were saying in the chat. You got to know when to be conservative, and you got to know when to go and try to take those moments and try to force something to happen. I think Matthew Stafford played it cool, perfect. He waited for his opportunity and for his moment. He didn't go out there and try to force a throw into a tight window and throw an interception. This is a guy who was struggling with interceptions the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season, too, coming into the playoffs. So to see him clean it up and play that kind of football was very impressive to me. You talked about Brady not being sacked so much on the day, but the pressure that the Rams had put on him, I got a little nugget on that too. He was pressured 17 times. That's the most against him this season, and it's the second most that he's ever had in a game since joining the Bucs in 2020. He went 4 for 14 and took 3 sacks when he was underneath pressure by the Los Angeles Rams in this game. So, Tom Brady, normally a guy, I always say this, man, a decisive quarterback will make your offensive line that much better. But I think when you're lacking weapons in the wide receiver room the way he was, and then also to be missing out your left tackle, those 2 things, that's a combination that a guy at however old Tom Brady is, 44 years old or whatever, cannot overcome. You need help. And this is what Antonio Brown was talking about when people were kind of coming at Antonio Brown oh, you think you're the reason that Tom Brady, he needs you? All Antonio Brown was really saying, and I know he's not the messenger. That's the thing. He shouldn't be the messenger giving this point out. But all he was saying was, look, a quarterback can't do it without good wide receivers. That's a fact right there. And that's what Antonio Brown was just harping that point. Some fans tried to come at him for it because he shouldn't be the guy that should be saying that, especially just, within a week of being dismissed from the Bucs. But they could have used him in this game, man. I posted up Antonio Brown's stats, man. The dude's numbers was ridiculous, man. I mean, I got him in my phone. So there was one that stood out to me that I wanted to go over. That was about this season in particular, because, when you look at Antonio Brown's numbers, I mean, they're just off the chart. He had years of 1,500 yards, 1,700 yards, 1,800 yards, almost 1,300 yards, 1,500 yards, 1,200, almost 1,300 yards. That's from 2013 to 2017. Now, in this past season, he was averaging 77.9 yards per game, bro. Just now. Just when he was doing that whole thing on the sideline, this guy was averaging that many yards per game. Every team can utilize a guy who's averaging 77 point whatever yards per game. Those numbers are great for a guy who's dealing with turmoil like Antonio Brown has, and missing Godwin. Obviously, that was a problem. I'm surprised that Mike Evans was able to show up in this game the way that he was, especially with Tom Brady under the amount of pressure that he was under. But, I think this was Stafford's moment. Eventually, Tom Brady got to come off that pedestal eventually. I mean, people didn't think he was going to win the Super Bowl last year until he got close to it, and then he won it. For me this year, I thought they had a couple little problems in the locker room along with on the roster. Ronald Jones, that doesn't seem like a big hit, but that is a big hit because now you're getting Fournette back in the game. But you need two backs in the NFL. I always talk about this.
Talk about it
there
all
was
the time.
no Keyshawn Vaughn. There was no Keyshawn Vaughn in this game.
I don't understand that. I really don't. It's like the guy – it's just weird. I don't know, man. I guess there's certain things that we just don't know. We're not there in the practices. We're not there in the locker room. We're not there in the game plan, But sometimes it's just there's some head-scratching personnel decisions, I think, that were made in all of these games. Really,
yeah, and you're a lot more higher on Keyshawn Vaughn than I am. There's a part of me that understands why the coaches are doing this. They're going playmakers, experience, playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're thinking. They're like, let me maximize Leonard Fournette's opportunities. And we can't go without talking about Leonard Fournette's numbers because he did have a day.
The catch that he made on the third down.
I mean, the dude was just everywhere.
One-handed Jones.
Only had 13 carries in the game for 51 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also had 9 receptions for 56 yards. So outside of Mike Evans and the little bit that we got from Rob Gronkowski, it was literally Leonard Fournette. I do think that the Bucs waited a little bit too long to try to go to Scotty Miller. They didn't try to abuse that matchup because Scotty Miller's been a guy who hasn't been on the field. Now we're talking about Antonio Brown averaging 77 yards per game. Scotty Miller, who's the guy who came in place for him, really didn't even see any targets until the fourth quarter in this game. He only had 4 catches for 38 yards. Tyler Johnson, you can tell that Tyler Johnson is not ready for this big stage yet. And this dates back to last week, too. The announcers were talking about how he just wasn't on the same script with Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going back shoulder. Tom Brady's waiting for him to sit down in the zone, and he keeps running through the zone, and there's just not that chemistry built between Tom Brady and a guy like Tyler Johnson, who is still relatively young. I think he's in his second year as a pro right now. Cameron Brate as the other tight end, he didn't show up either. 1 catch for 9 yards. So I just don't know where the Bucs offense was going to get it from in a game where Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense came out on fire, and the big moments did not scare them. Now, Matthew Stafford came into this game, actually came into last week's game, the wild card weekend, with the most regular season touchdown passes among quarterbacks without a playoff victory. And finally, he got the playoff victory last week, and now he gets his second playoff victory in a Rams uniform. That trade is looking like one of the best trades. And not only that trade, this weekend showed you that you need the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and if you ain't got the quarterback, you better have the coach who can scheme it up. Because I do think Shanahan plays that role with Jimmy Garoppolo to help him win games.
And a great defense and some running backs, that helps too.
That helps too.
You got to have all those other pieces if you don't have
But now look at the 2 biggest performances of the weekend. They came in a game where both quarterbacks led their team in rushing and in passing. So I think a running back is important. A good running back duo especially is how you get to the playoffs, I feel like. And you do need that backbone to rely on in the playoffs to win games. But look at the San Francisco 49ers. Their running game wasn't clicking, and they won. I know the weather was ugly. You look at the Chiefs game against the Bills, their running backs in that game did not do well. Singletary did not show up in that game at all.
What I'm saying is that if you don't have the quarterback, like Jimmy G, right? Like, so he has to have – you say it all the time. If you're not an elite quarterback, you got to have –
If you're not a franchise, yeah.
Franchise quarterback, you have to have the running game. And I just throwing in the defense, obviously, there too.
Now,
because
for me, that's
without the
playoffs
running
to
your
the side.
defense –
That's playoffs to the side. That's just like if you want to be successful in the NFL.
Well, yeah, but in the playoffs, the only team that doesn't have the top tier quarterback is that team, and they just happen to have they're the best defense that's left in the playoffs.
Ooh,
And
that's a good one too. You think they're the best defense? I think defense matters. I do think running matters, but I'm gonna stick to the point that I'm saying about the playoffs. You need the quarterback, and I think that the 49ers are gonna fall short because they don't have a quarterback. Hate to say it, but like those numbers that he put up in that game, Jimmy Garoppolo, that's pitiful, bro.
Yeah, the first 2 games in total. I mean,
Yeah, it's looking like Ryan Tannehill, the year that they knocked out the Ravens in the playoffs. Remember, Ryan Tannehill had 2 games. He threw it like 8 times one game, 12 times the other game. It's looking a lot like that. And to me, those kind of that would be an outlier season if Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers could get to the Super Bowl and actually win. I mean, come on, no. Of the 4 teams left, I don't think anybody's picking them. You need that quarterback, and I'm talking to Giants fans when I say this. You need that
talk
quarterback.
to Washington fans too while you're there.
Y'all don't matter. You know, this is how I feel about Washington.
Spike don't care.
Okay, I don't
Come
care
on,
too much
man.
about Washington. This for my New York Giants fans out here. I ain't saying Daniel Jones ain't the guy, but so far he hasn't been the guy. This weekend of the playoffs showed you need the quarterback. Just like the Green Bay Packers needed Aaron Rodgers to show up in that game like some of these other quarterbacks did, and he didn't. And I think if he does show up, the 49ers game isn't even a contest. The game wouldn't even have been close. But because the quarterback doesn't show up in a game where, yeah, it looked okay, no touchdowns, he kept it clean, 20 of 29 or whatever, but the quarterback play is the reason why they're going home, and that's why I think a lot of people giving Aaron Rodgers a lot of crap on Monday morning after losing that game. But for me, man, it's all about quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford outplayed Tom Brady in this game.
Jimmy G over DJ.
Man.
You sounded like me just
It's
now.
tough. It's tough. That's tough. What Jimmy G in, like his 6th or 7th, 8th year maybe?
No, I have his rookie card. It's not next to me, but I think he's.
I'm gonna look it up real quick before we move on.
7th year maybe, but remember he didn't play for his first year. I don't think.
8th year. Yep.
8th year.
8th year, and didn't play much for the first 3 seasons for real.
Yeah.
He as a Patriots quarterback, he didn't play much, but it is his 8th season, so that I would factor that in when thinking about Daniel Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo, because Daniel Jones is younger, but God damn you, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. That's a tough one, but I think I would go Jimmy G. Yeah, I tweeted out something the other day, man, that said I would go Jimmy G. I mean, he's an upgrade, as my homie Craig Carton said on WFN the other day. He's like, let me upgrade you, and that Jimmy G is an upgrade over Daniel Jones at the moment. He wins games. I don't know how the hell he does it. I don't know how he does it with these statistics he be putting up, but he wins games. So I got to go Jimmy G. But I do think, man, there's 2 tiers of what we're trying to do here in the NFL. You got teams that are just like, yo, dog, we trying to get in. We just want to be considered in the big games, okay? Let us get into the playoffs, okay? That's where Philadelphia was at the beginning of the playoffs, okay? They're like, we got in. We're happy about that. Consolation prize all day. I'm all good with that, right? Then there's those other teams that are like, yo, dog, I'm not trying to go to the playoffs to lose no games. I'm trying to get to the playoffs to go win the big game. Jimmy G is in that conversation now. And I think that's where the letdown comes with guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, man, who now is, contemplating retirement. Obviously, I mean, we caught him in the heat of the moment for sure. We'll see how that goes. But I think Tom Brady is going to want to ride off into the sunset after a Super Bowl victory. But we'll see how that goes, man.
Big shout out to Stephen Lilly for the £5 super chat. Says, no way Rodgers almost brings back this game at 27-3. Brady almost did. Rodgers doesn't live up to his talent.
I mean, it could go either way. He almost, what is your saying about almost?
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Exactly. And the mere fact is Tom Brady didn't do it. I can think of a game that another quarterback we could bring up and say almost. Do you guys remember Dak Prescott and the Cowboys going up against the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs? Just, what was that, 2 seasons ago? They were down like 30-3. He rallied them all the way back. They didn't win the game. No one's going to care. No one's ever going to remember that, So I think if you don't get it done, you don't get it done. Tom Brady has had the luxury of being in a lot more Super Bowls, and he got it done in the Super Bowl. So we can definitely look to that moment and say, hey, Aaron Rodgers could never come back against Matt Ryan and the Falcons down by, 24, 28 points in the Super Bowl game, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't even get to them Super Bowls. So, yeah, I kind of feel you on that. But at the same time, man, it's hypothetical, man. I think the Rams did everything they possibly could to allow the Bucs to hang around in this game, and it almost cost them, man. It really almost cost them. I think Cam Akers had a lot to do with that. Cooper Kupp's fumble obviously had a lot to do with that, and the brain fart that the center had. Maybe it was on Matthew Stafford. I don't know, but he snapped the ball when Matthew Stafford's not looking, and the ball goes right over his head. At the end of the day, the Rams go out here and they win the game like I wanted them to win the game, and my man Odell Beckham is going to an NFC championship, so I'm happy about that.
Yep, and we both picked this game to go this way.
One of my only games I picked like that. Man, I've been struggling in these playoffs, man. I've definitely been struggling.
Doing pretty good in these over-unders, though.
Yeah, that 3-7 on the last segment wasn't that good. But we'll see. We'll see how we do on this one with the Rams and the Bucs. Just making sure here we got everything. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Rams Bucs. That was incredible finish in that game. Incredible finish, man. Big shout out to Matthew Stafford. All right, let's get to these over-unders and see how we did with the Rams at Bucs. So we got right here. All right, first one was Matthew Stafford over 279 passing yards versus the Bucs. He had 366. What did we pick on that?
We didn't do that one.
This one we didn't do. Okay.
Nope.
Cooper Kupp over 100 yards receiving versus the Bucs. I think he was just under, right?
No, he was over.
Oh, yeah, he went way over 183. I was thinking Mike Evans.
Plays. Yeah.
Yeah, so we both picked this one, right?
Nope.
Come on, give me the verdict.
I picked the under.
Terrible. Shout out this guy right here. Yeah. All right, Gronkowski over 66 yards receiving versus the Rams.
We didn't do that one.
We didn't do this one either. So I left 2 off of this game. See, we was getting a little late.
There's only 8. Yeah.
Only 8. Okay, Tyler Higbee over 40 yards receiving versus the Bucs.
We didn't do that one either.
Okay, so we left that one off. He did go over, though. He had 51. Tom Brady over 285 yards passing versus the Rams.
We both picked the under.
We picked the under on this.
It looked like he was going to be under for 90% of the game. And then it just, the end of that game, he ended up going crazy. Yeah.
I don't like that. Van Jefferson over 40 yards receiving. I think he was under. Yeah, yep, he had 2 receptions for 29.
I picked the under. You picked the over.
Oh, that's tough for me. Good win for you on that one. Ooh, I think we're both wrong on this one. Odell Beckham Jr. over 1 receiving touchdown versus the Bucs.
We both picked the push.
Yeah, he didn't score on the day in that one. Cam Akers over 70 yards rushing. We both picked the over.
Nope, I picked the under.
Ooh, that was a good one by you. I know I picked the over on that one. You got that one. He went under. Good win on that one. Ooh, Keyshawn Vaughn over 65 yards rushing.
We didn't do that one.
Good thing we didn't do that one. Mike Evans over 1 receiving touchdown versus the Rams.
I took the under and failed, and you took the push and hit spot on.
Q. Let's go Authentic. Shout out to this guy. And Rob Gronkowski over 1 receiving touchdown versus the Rams.
I took the over. You took the under. He had 0 touchdowns.
I like that. And I think we got
one more.
Von Miller, right?
Yep.
Von Miller over 1 sack versus the Bucs.
I took the push, and you took the push, and he had 1 sack.
Cool. Let's go, man. That's what I'm talking about right there. All right, what's the record for that one?
You went 4-4, and I went 3-5.
All right, so we're back even. You was right about this coming down to the wire. Shishimo. Oh, man.
1 game left.
1 game left. All right. Let's get to this last game. We're doing good time here, too, man. Appreciate everybody rocking with us. I know we flying fast here. Hour and 38 minutes into the show, man. Shout out to everybody still watching across all platforms, man. This was one of the best playoff weekends I've ever seen in my entire life, and it ended with one of the best games I've definitely ever seen. Ever. Shout out to Andre 3000. Today on The Herd, Colin Cowherd said, the first evolution of the quarterback was Dan Marino and John Elway. The second was with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And the third evolution was on Sunday night. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen put on one of the best shows we've seen in the history of the game. It was the first time in playoff history that we saw 4 go-ahead touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and overtime. After scoring the go-ahead touchdown with just 13 seconds left in the game, Bills Nation might have celebrated just a bit too early. In just 2 plays, Patrick Mahomes got the Chiefs all set up for a field goal, and Harrison Butker would knock it down to send the game to overtime. Momentum had completely shifted, and when the Chiefs won the coin toss, you just knew this game was just about over. The Chiefs scored a touchdown on the first possession of overtime to win the game 42-36. All right, I want to start this segment by addressing a big topic that I saw going around on social media. A lot of people talking about this one. The overtime rules. So as of right now, the way that the overtime rules stand is if a team scores a touchdown on the first drive of overtime, it's kind of like how the old sudden death rules used to be back in the day, where the game is completely over once the first team scores a touchdown. If the first team scores a field goal, they then allow the second team to come down the field and try to either match that field goal or score a touchdown to end the game. If the second team were to come down and score a field goal, you're then relying on the clock normally in the regular season, and whatever team would score next would win that game. But in the playoffs, you cannot end in a tie. So I think there is no clock, I guess, in the playoffs. I don't know if they were showing a clock up on the scoreboard during this game or not, but there's no way it could end in a tie. A lot of people are saying that this is very unfair and that no team should be able to just come down and score, on the first drive, score a touchdown and end the game. You want me to start with my thoughts on this one, or you want to give your thoughts on this first, Abir?
Yeah, I'll go first. Listen, unfair is not the right word to choose, first of all, because the rules are the rules. We've been playing the same overtime rules for the last few years now. It used to be even worse than what it is now. Where before it was like you go down, you kick a field goal, that's it, game over. You know what I'm saying? In overtime. Like now at least they're giving you some sort of a rebuttal. So I don't necessarily believe in the word choice of it being unfair. Do I think that it's stupid? Yeah, I do, kind of, like, to a certain extent. I've always kind of been back and forth in this. And I used to try to argue for college overtime rules in NFL. But I think as I got older and as I started to study the game more, I don't think that would be the answer either. I think if I was the rules committee and if I was the league and the owners and the players union, I think I would try to change overtime to a timed period. Obviously, it would have to be extremely less. Do you know how much time there is normally in an overtime period, like just on the clock to start? Is it 8 minutes?
Zach is in the chat right now. He's saying overtime is 15 minutes, and if the time runs out, they just do another OT.
So what about in regular season? How long is an overtime period?
Probably 15 minutes. I'd imagine it's probably a quarter. I'd imagine.
I think for some reason I thought it was less than that, like half of the time. Is it 15 minutes in overtime? But my point would be
10 minutes. 10 minutes normally
10 minutes?
during the regular season.
Okay, so my proposal would be to do an 8-minute overtime period, and just let it play out.
Okay, so here's the question here, because I think that, and if I was on the committee with you, I would say this. It's a bit senseless to add another quarter, because what if you end in a tie again?
That's a great rebuttal.
Good point,
okay.
Right? Do you do it again?
One more
quarter.
No.
We're going to be up here till tomorrow playing football.
I think at the end of the period, if it's a tie, it's a tie.
But we're talking playoffs. Playoffs?
In playoffs, yeah, you just keep going. If it's tied at the end of the 8th, then you got to go to double overtime. You ain't never seen a hockey playoff game? Whoo, man. Those things could go 6, 7, 8 overtimes.
Yeah, but in
and
football,
they play a whole period.
That's crazy. How many hockey games are played in a season?
70?
Exactly. How many basketball games are played in a season?
70?
There's a reason why football plays 16, now 17
Okay,
games.
but let's hockey and basketball are different. Okay, hockey is semi-comparable to football to a certain extent because of the hitting, which you don't get in basketball,
A
obviously.
little bit, man, but people ain't getting as hurt in
that's what I
hockey as
said.
they are in football. Do
Yeah,
you disagree with the way that they do it in soccer, where you get the 2 periods of overtime, and then if no one scores in those periods, they just go to a shootout? Because a lot of people still even think that's unfair. I'm sorry, that you got to come down to a shootout now. My goalie's got to block a certain amount of kicks.
No, because you have already played the overtime period.
Which is why I asked you the thing about, what your rule doesn't solve anything but make the game longer by adding another quarter.
Well, no. First of all, I want to keep it at 8 minutes because I think adding another quarter would just be too much for the union and the Players Association to agree upon due to injuries and so forth. But I think with me, it just seems weird that, and I understand the defense of, well, defense is part of the game too. So your defense should be able to have to stop somebody's offense. It doesn't matter if you don't get the ball first or not. But I just think for the betterment of the game, I think it would make more sense to just make it an 8-minute period, and whoever wins after the 8 minutes wins after the 8 minutes. And if it's tied, then you go another 4 minutes in overtime. Or in regular season, it ends as a tie. And go another maybe after the 8-minute period in the playoffs, you do a sudden death sort of situation.
Yeah, I mean that's what sudden death is because you've already had 60 whole minutes of football to play to try to make the score not even.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, like, I don't want to see the game extended that much, like an 8-minute quarter and then you don't score and then they go do another 4-minute quarter. 4 minutes in a football game is literally probably a drive and a half. Then they don't score then what? I see somebody in the chat saying go with Russell Wilson. My man Zach saying go with Russell Wilson's idea where each team kicks it from the 25-30, 35-40, 45-50, 55-60. Like, you got to understand that there was a whole regulation for you to score the points to try to not make it a tie game in the first place. I think it does a disservice, actually. And then what do you do at the beginning of the game? The coin toss has been a thing with football since its existence. Do you remove the coin toss from the beginning of the game? Right.
I mean,
right.
Listen, the whole whoever wins the coin toss wins. I'm sure somebody's done the stats on that. I'm sure it's probably not that much different.
Whoever wins the coin toss will normally win overtime, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a 60-40 split probably.
Which is not bad when you think about it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
For me, if you're gonna adjust the rule, make it better than what it is right now. That's my thing. I don't want to add more time to the game. I think that the way the overtime rules were before they even altered them, where it was just like, look, coin toss, like we're starting the game all over again. Whoever scores the first points, it's over. This whole you deserve a rebuttal thing, this is football, bro. Like, I don't agree with that.
And that's why I said I don't think that I'm not using the word not fair, or I'm not using the words deserves. Even
if we remove all those words, right? I'm just trying to get to a conclusion where the rule is right. Let's call it that. Let's not say fair or unfair. Let's just say right, okay?
But
to me, that's
the thing is, who's to say what's right and what's wrong?
Logic. Bro, you just played 60 minutes and y'all are still tied up, man. Next score, we getting out of here. How many times you been to basketball court, dog? The sun's going down, and you're like, yo, dog, it's still 21-21. Well, next hoop wins it, and we out of here, bro. Like, let's just be realistic. We had 60 minutes to try to make this not a tie, okay? The Buffalo Bills should have won this damn game. 13 seconds left on the scoreboard. You kick the ball off to Patrick Mahomes. He gets it at his 25-yard line, and y'all allow him to get in field goal range and score. Bro, your defense is playing like garbage. We're not talking about some slouch defense here either. We're talking about the #1 ranked pass defense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? To try to lean these rules to be changed because it didn't work out in the person that they're rooting for's favor, that's bogus to me, bro. Let's keep it real. Nobody was complaining about the overtime rules early on in the season. Okay,
I mean, let's be honest. Every time this happens, when it's a good game between two teams and one team wins the coin toss and scores and the other team doesn't get a chance to score.
So tell me when that
everybody says this all the time.
No, I'm just saying.
Why do you think?
What moment? Because this a game I'm never going to forget. I'm going to be able to pull this game in 20 years, right? So what I'm trying to figure out from you is, what's the game that reminds you of, like, where we need to change that rule? Because, look, when I think about the wide receiver catch rule, what do I think about? What game do I think about when I think about the wide receiver catch rule? I think about the Green Bay Packers versus Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
It's that easy, right? It's a no-brainer. With this, it's not the same. It's like, oh, we need the rule changed, right? I saw all across my Twitter, right? We need the rule changed. Dog, y'all had 60 minutes to win the game. With
listen,
the best
I'm not,
defense. You could argue that the Bills had the advantage because Kansas City Chiefs defense ain't up there with the Bills defense, especially when you got Honey Badger sitting on the sideline with a concussion.
Yeah.
So who would it really have benefited, right? It would have benefited one of the teams, which is not good, because now we're saying the team with the better defense deserves another chance now to rebuttal. After they had 60 minutes to try to get it done, each team had 9 drives in this game before Patrick Mahomes got the ball back with 13 seconds left in the game. That's why we timing every down and timing everything in the game. You know, so for me to try to clamor down to try to have a rule change at this moment in time, not only would you have to change the overtime rules and get away from the coin toss, you still got – what do you want them to do? Do a tip-off in the beginning? Referee in the middle? Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen in the middle.
I don't know.
And the referee goes like this. Hold on. The referee goes like this. He throws it up, and then whoever wins the tip, that's who gets the ball. What do we do with that? We can't. The option that you proposed is not an option, to be honest.
But it has nothing to do with changing the coin toss. I never said anything about changing the coin toss.
It has to do with adding another quarter to the game.
Okay, but I never said anything about changing the coin toss.
Of course, but adding another quarter is just as
it's not another quarter. Crazy. It's an 8-minute extended period, which they would play anyways.
Oh, okay, so
if nobody scores a touchdown on the first drive, the game. I mean, listen, when a game ties, ends in a tie in the regular season, right? How many minutes do they play in that game?
7.
They play an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then my whole thing is that.
So wait. What's your point about that though?
That's what I was gonna say. My whole point is that if you just play the 8 minutes and whoever wins the 8 minutes wins the game. When you play overtime in basketball, you play an additional lesser amount of time, and whoever the points continue to go, and whoever wins at that end wins. In hockey, the same sort of situation until it goes to shootout, similar to soccer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, it would make, I feel like it would be appropriate, because you're going to get the two teams that have been battling for 60 minutes that ended in a tie, now get to have another battle to win the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I don't like it.
I understand that you don't like it, but it's not logical. Like you said it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work.
I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't make sense is because it doesn't fix the problem that fans have with the rule right now.
It fits the exact problem. Yes, it does.
No, because the problem
the problem that people have right now is the fact that one team can end the game without the other team touching the ball.
Listen, go look across Twitter. I don't know if you were busy yesterday or what. The problem is that even the player from the team from the Bills said it. The problem is that you're determining the game off of a coin toss 50% chance.
But why do you think they're saying that? Why do you think they're saying that? Because whoever wins a coin toss gets the ball first, can score, and the game's over.
Yeah, but you're with an 8-minute period. This is why I said the option that you propose doesn't fix anything. Because with what you're saying, let's say we flip the coin and I'm the Kansas City Chiefs and I get the ball and I drain 7 minutes, 50 seconds off my first drive and score a touchdown. You get the ball back with 50 seconds or 10 seconds.
Yeah, so now
people are going to be saying the same thing.
No, because now you have because now you can't just score and it end. See, for me, this works perfect, because what it does is it goes right into the people who say, well, if your defense is good enough, you should be able to stop the offense and get the ball back. So it's can still use that argument in an extended period for the game. But
then why not just make it a full quarter? Why would you shorten the quarter? We know NFL drives can go 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Easy.
Because of health protocols.
Well,
that would be the only way. That would be the only way that that'd be the only way that the union and the league would agree to it.
Let me get this wind off, okay? People still gonna be angry at the fact that a team can win the coin toss and drain most of the period. I
disagree.
It doesn't solve the thing that people think is unfair, which is the coin. They were. I don't want to curse. They had a problem with the coin toss, bro. They didn't have a problem with the first team scoring. They had a problem with the coin toss determining who got the ball.
But listen to what I'm saying. That's why they have a problem with the coin toss because the coin toss determines who gets the ball first.
Yes,
which
you don't
gives
have to reiterate that. But when I presented you with what if a team gets the ball first and drains the whole quarter on one drive, you said so be it. That's why I'm saying that. Listen, that's why I'm saying it doesn't solve anything, because those same fans that are petty, that are saying, "Hey, you flipped a coin to make the Kansas City Chiefs get the ball in overtime," they're going to say the same thing when they drain the clock.
But all right, I understand what you're saying.
Now I'm gonna play overtime differently. I'm gonna play overtime to sustain the drive. We could just agree to disagree on it, but at the end of the day, I just think that it's not a logical way to solve the problem that fans have with the coin toss.
So, see, this is what the difference is our view of why they have a problem with the coin toss. That's the difference. My whole thing is that the reason why they have a problem with the coin toss is because they believe that the coin toss is an advantage because whoever gets the ball first can score and end the game.
Now, that's so easy and logical to understand from my mind. But for you, how come you can't understand the fact of if the quarter's only 8 minutes, that fans would still be upset when the coin toss determined who got the ball first? They'll say, yo, they had 7 minutes, 30 seconds on their drive. We got the ball back with 30 seconds. How's that fair?
And that's why I said that when the first thing I said was whoever said that the thing about being fair is stupid, because if you have an extended period of time, that's fair because it's just like a regular game again, right? But to other people, they're saying that it's unfair because if one team scores, the other team doesn't ever get a chance to touch the ball. Now, if a team drains 6 minutes of the clock and scores, the other team still has a chance to get the ball and score again. And we just saw you only need
not if they drain it.
Hey, if you drain all 8 minutes of it, then
exactly.
Then you deserve to win.
Which is why
but if
you're going to do it the way that you're saying, it would just make more sense to do a full quarter rather than a shortened period.
And I understand that, but the reason why I say that is because my idea is that in order for that rule to get passed, it would have to be a shortened period of time, I would imagine, because of health and protocol situations, which is why, like, the whole reason for getting to 17 games, people were super sketched out about it. So there would have to be an agreement.
Now it really don't make sense because, look, you're concerned about player safety or player health, right? But if the overtime period ends in the playoffs without anybody scoring, you're going to have to now do another quarter anyway.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not perfect. It's not ideal.
It's not.
I mean, this is what I'm saying is that, like, if this is not necessarily what I would necessarily agree upon. Obviously, this is super difficult. This is why this discussion comes up all the time.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
And I don't think this comes up all the time because we're not dealing with games.
It comes up all the time. Are you kidding me?
Let me. You couldn't even think of an instance where it came up. But look, this is why I'm saying it's not coming up all the time is because in the regular season, these games end in ties, bro. They don't let them play out. So you only get to see this particular circumstance in the playoffs. I can't even remember the last overtime playoff game I saw.
I mean,
You feel where I'm going with this? Now, for me, if you're going to, you got to make the rules equal. You got to make it fair for both sides. I don't care how much you don't want to use that word, right? You got to make the rules fair, at least, okay? To me, what's fair about the rule right now is that if your defense not stops them to 0, just holds them to a field goal, you get your offense an opportunity to come down and score 7 and win the game. Over. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. The game shouldn't go to overtime in the first damn place. Finish it in regulation. Get it done.
Okay, but I mean, it goes to overtime. You can't just say don't go to overtime.
So then it goes to overtime. You can't be a player on the Buffalo Bills saying how are we relying on a coin toss in overtime? And you can't be that guy. You can't.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's okay to say that because the rules are the rules. I mean,
the rules are the rules.
That's how it is. That's how it's been for the last few years, which is what I started my whole conversation with.
If anything,
all I'm saying is that
logical,
the reason why they're upset is because they feel
No, you're wrong on that. You're wrong on that.
I'm not wrong on that. I'm 100% right on that.
I have the player quote right here where he literally says the coin toss is what he has a problem with.
But why do you think he says that?
Because they get the ball first and have the first opportunity to end the game.
And if they score, they don't have a chance to touch the ball. Right. That's why they have a problem with it. Because they feel like they should have a chance to score.
I'm not arguing on it too much, right? And I don't want to talk over you, right? But I'm just saying that what you're saying to make it 8 minutes doesn't make any sense. You might as well do what somebody said in the chat. If you're going to go with what you're saying to propose logical way of trying to fix this, make it a full quarter. Why would you make it 8 minutes?
I'm all for it. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's play a whole quarter.
That's what I've been trying to tell you the whole time right here. Why would you make it 8 minutes to allow a team to drive down one drive and leave one team with 1 minute left, which would be unfair as well?
Listen, if you do it the whole quarter, then you have to get into the collective bargaining agreement. People are gonna want to get paid more money. There's gonna have to be
they just
all those
did it
sort
for
of
17
situations.
games, bro. They just did that for 17 games, no problem.
So then play 15 minutes. I was just saying that I would imagine that if they did it, they would probably propose an 8 minutes.
Oh, because when I said somebody in the chat said this, you kept saying no, 8 minutes. That's what threw me off. Because to me, that's not logical. Because then you have 8 minutes. How many times have you seen a drive go 6 minutes, 50 seconds all damn day? So now as the other team, I'm going to get the ball back. I got to run a 2-minute drill while Patrick Mahomes and them just got to just slowly, leisurely walk down the field and go 6 for 6 and score the touchdown. Like, come on, that don't make no sense. At the end of the day, I don't think people should be complaining about this either way. The overtime rules are fine.
Not right now.
The overtime rules are fine.
The
only reason why people complaining is because they were on the side of Josh Allen and not on the side of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The Chiefs handled business. Not only did they come down there and score with 13 seconds left in regulation to tie it up, they went 6 for 6 on the next drive and scored a touchdown. Those are the rules.
So you don't think that if those roles were reversed that people would be complaining too?
I wouldn't be complaining. I was rooting for.
I mean, me and you are not going to complain.
You asked the question. I was rooting for Patrick Mahomes. If he lost that game in overtime and they lost the coin toss and Josh Allen them go right down and score a touchdown, so be it. You lost, bro. You had all regulation to be a 60-minute man. Shout out to my guy Kyle Pizzle, and you didn't. And they gave you an extra period to try to be, you could at least stop them to a field goal and get a chance, and your bum defense couldn't do it. Simple. It's easy. It's easy. Overtime and sudden death, it's called that for a reason. It's extra, bro. It's not supposed to go that way. It's not supposed to go that way. And I understand this game was fantastic, okay? These offenses were both on fire. But at the end of the day, what the Buffalo Bills fans and the Josh Allen supporters and stands out there who want to be supporting Josh Allen need to be saying is that defense should have made the stop with 13 seconds left in the game. This ain't have nothing to do with overtime. They knew they was going to lose the game when they won. When the Chiefs won a coin toss, the Bills knew, man, we just lost this damn game to a coin toss. Yes, you did, because you didn't finish it in regulation. Can't keep giving teams all these opportunities to get rebuttals when in reality, bro, you had 60 minutes to do it and y'all didn't do it against a defense that didn't have Honey Badger on the field. Y'all couldn't do it. So for me, I'm not about to be, oh man, now I got to move the goalpost because Josh Allen and his team defense couldn't stop the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime, let alone with 13 seconds left in this game. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. And that's why I wanted to start this off with this segment, because when you told me backstage, yeah, I kind of feel like, yeah, they could change rules. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, bro, I was cool with the sudden death. Flip the coin. What are we going to change the outcome of the games from the beginning? And how are we going to determine if a team even gets the ball at the beginning of the game if we're going to change the coin toss? I don't know if you misunderstood what I was saying, but today the rhetoric that was going around was not that, the Chiefs got the ball first. The rhetoric was, why is it determined by a coin toss?
Okay, so for me, I misinterpreted that whole thing because that's stupid. I didn't think that people were that idiotic to
There's
think
nothing
that,
else like that, though. You don't see NBA. They go to overtime. They're like, hey, Shaq. Hey, David Robinson. Here we go. Come on.
They do a tip-off.
Exactly, and somebody has to win it.
Yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is that, like, that never crossed my mind because the coin toss is the coin toss. And the reason why I say this is because for forever, as long as I can remember, every time this comes up, people are upset because they think whoever wins the coin toss has an advantage because they can score and the other team doesn't get a chance to touch the ball. That's what I'm accustomed to people complaining about. I didn't realize that people were literally complaining about the actual coin toss.
The player and people idiotic. On Twitter are complaining about the coin toss. It's not stupid because, look, there's no other sport. There's no other sport where they do that. It's just tradition.
But the coin toss is coin toss.
Hang tight. I get it.
Now going to get rid of it?
I get it. It's tradition. Yeah. I mean, they got rid of sudden death because for years there, the reason why they got rid of sudden death is because of people talking about exactly what you're saying right now, complaining. My team didn't get a chance to go down the field after they made a field goal. So they were like, all right, you know what? If your defense shows up and mans up enough and makes a stop to a field goal, we'll give you a chance. How much more fair do y'all want it to get? Like, how much more fair do y'all want it to get? Now, I understand fans saying, I don't think that it's stupid that fans are pissed off about a coin toss determining it. This is the one thing that could fix it. Put the ball at the 50, 11 men on one goal line, 11 men on another goal line. Go get the damn ball. If y'all want it to be for real, go get the damn ball and then have an overtime. So that way you can't say, they won it by a coin toss, okay? Because that would be more realistic. But they know that's good. You talk about collective bargaining agreements and all that. They're going to have to deal with that because players are going to get killed on that play. But at the end of the day, that is equivalent to a tip-off in basketball because the referee holds the ball, everyone is centered, we're split on the court, we throw it up. It's mano-a-mano for our teams to get the ball. Okay? It's not
bad at that.
It's not. Here we go. What you calling? Heads or tails? Some dumb dude coach told him call heads. He might even say tails, ruin the whole thing. Quarter lands on heads. Bam, you just lost the game for your team off the strength of not calling heads or tails. And for every moment that you talked about people complaining about overtime and the rules, for me, I can remember more moments during the coin toss than I remember people complaining about the rules. I remember my man Hasselback. Yeah, we're calling heads and we're going down the field and we're going to score on y'all. Yeah, how'd that work out for y'all? Okay, I remember Jabril Peppers early on this year. We want the effing ball. These are moments that happen during a coin toss. But we can't. Now, I'm not one that wants to remove the coin toss tradition from the NFL because I think it's a part of it. That's just part of the luck. It's a little bit of a gamble that has to go into every game where it's like, hey, let's flip this coin, and that's going to determine who gets the ball not only in overtime, but first in a game. And who gets the ball at the half. We could defer. We could do all kind of things. Field position, wind, all this stuff goes into play at a coin toss. So to say, hey, just add another 8-minute quarter to me, that doesn't solve anything. Adding a whole nother quarter might. But at the end of the day, we're still flipping a coin to see who gets the ball first. Okay, yeah. Momentum, all these things are going to play. And if fans are going to be able to complain about those things, they're going to complain about the other openings that are left around the rule.
They will always find something to complain about.
Yeah, so if you're going to adjust or alter the rule, which I think they did a great job already doing this. Yeah, they altered the rule good enough. You know, they're like, hey, if you can stop the Kansas City Chiefs to a field goal, then you deserve an opportunity. People are too offensive-minded when it comes to football. Mm-hmm. They just think about the scoring. They don't think about hey, there's a defense out here trying to stop them. We're looking at a game between the Packers and the San Francisco 49ers that ended with 23 total points, man.
And the winning team didn't even score a touchdown.
Right. Like, come on, dog. We cannot be like, oh, well, you deserve a touchdown now, Chance, because they did too. Even though y'all just played 60 minutes and the score's tied. We can't think like that, bro. We can't. And that's my strong opinion on that. I was one that when they changed the rule, I'm looking at them like, what the hell are y'all doing? Y'all, sudden death is so fire. Score first. Stop them. You had all game.
That's what I'm saying. That's why when in the beginning I said, listen, defense is part of the game. It's not just offense. So, like, listen, I understand,
See, and Stephen really brings up a good point here. Even if you have a whole new quarter, what happens if that ends in a draw? That was my point when he first started saying this. I'm like, you're going to get yourself into more trouble.
You got to play another quarter.
Like, another quarter. All right, had you out here for 15 minutes. Y'all been out here for an hour. Now we're in triple overtime 3-4 hours after the game was supposed to be over. Still
sounds like fun, right?
Sounds like death, man. Sounds like death. And then in the end, you're still going to have people complaining like, oh, man, but they got the ball first off the coin toss. That gave them the advantage. They went down and had an 8-minute drive.
There's no way that people could sit there and do that. If they did that, they would look even worse.
Listen, that would be like you said, it'd be like going back to the beginning of the game, and it's just like a new game now, right? But in a real game, the team who doesn't get the ball first gets it at the halftime. So maybe you split overtime in half and you go first 8 minutes. If you don't score, the ball goes to the other team. Like, we can't be doing this, bro. Yeah, we can't do this.
It's more complicated to change it. But I mean, for fun, obviously, it is always a great topic of discussion for sure. So.
Yeah, and I think, these kind of things split the room because some people are used to tradition, right? Like I'm football tradition. I'm totally
you get a lot in
right?
baseball. The baseball
I like that. The coin toss has been a part of this for a long time. I'm not one that wants to see the coin toss go away. I love that portion of the game. I think it's amazing. But at the same time, you got to find a way to keep these players upright, keep them safe, and make it so that the overtime is just one period. If we're trying to put it into 2 and 3 periods, we're not solving anything. And that's what I was trying to tell you in the beginning. Like, I'm not saying it's illogical completely, but at the same time, it's like, if we're going to troubleshoot something, let's troubleshoot something. You know what I mean? Let's make it better than it is. Right now, the only other option I could maybe think about is if you go to the college rules. But, man, what does that say? We're just, here you go. Red zone.
That's
Here you
why,
go, New York
that's how
Giants.
I used to.
Red zone.
Remember, I used to say like that all the time, and then you were like, "Man, it doesn't make any sense. It's just gonna, like it doesn't show the whole game of professional football if you do it like college football. Not to take anything away from college football, because I love me a good 6 overtime game in college football.
I hate it. You got to earn your way into the red zone. And
that's a great point. It totally makes sense that way. I do want to get to some of these other ones I missed up there. There's been baseball games that have gone, oh yeah. I've been to a I think it was
it was a playoff game. It was a playoff game y'all was at. Yeah, you and was it
Scotty
you and Scotty
Booms.
or you and Frank? You and Scotty, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
So I've been to long games before. It's crazy. Baseball, man. That's a whole nother. You want to talk about people who scream about that, man. Those purists in baseball. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give a big shout out to Sebastian for the $4.99 super chat? Says, I saw this ESPN idea that if a team scores on the first possession, they can go for 2 to seal the game and not allow the other team to get the ball. I don't think I could have the balls to do that.
It'd be tough, because now if you don't get the 2, the other team could just come down, score, kick it, and win the game, even though you scored first. I think it's a little bit more of the same here. Like, the touchdown is the 2-point conversion that he was saying about the idea from ESPN.
Yeah,
that's better than your idea. I'll tell you that. That's better than the whole
I didn't
extra,
it's not like I've been
quarter.
sitting. It's not like I just been sitting on this idea like it was a grand idea. I mean, you put me on the spot. I was like, well, maybe this is the way to do it. It's not like I've been concocting this overtime.
See that when I asked you before the segment, hey, you want to go first? You want me to go first? You should have just let me go first, break it down, give you all my angles, so then that way you could have saw my cards and been like, hey,
that backfired. That backfired.
But I mean, that idea with the 2-point conversion is not terrible. I don't like the fact that the other team could come down and score, but yeah, that's better. I'm not too mad at that.
Stephen Lilly with the £5 super chat says, there isn't a fair way to split these two teams. It's just a great game and it has to end. And
TBF.
To be fair, the Bills called the coin toss.
Damn.
I'm still baffled that people are complaining about the coin toss like that. I didn't realize that was the thing.
Dog, you got to think about it. There's no other sports where they do that. You so used to it, I know, but you probably never thought about it like this. Like, dog, there's no other sport where they're like, the game, we couldn't come to a conclusion here. 9th inning is over. All right, we're going to flip a coin, and you guys get to, go first. Like, if you think about it, it's kind of crazy, but it has been the tradition in the NFL that has been going on for so long.
This is an interesting one. They should do college rules, but start at midfield. Or maybe 20-yard line. Maybe they just start. Each team starts at the 20-yard line, and you get one drive. Well, how about that? That makes more sense, right? Your own 20, like a touchback.
I mean, that's technically what it is. Because, look, if you scored a walk-off touchdown, if you only got one drive, you're just leading into a situation where you're going to have to do it again and again and again.
That's what I'm saying is like, what? So why don't we do it like how they do it in college, right? Where they alternate the possessions, and instead of starting at I think they started like the 30-yard line in college, you start at your own 20.
I understood the scenario perfect. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to get yourself into more of the same. You're talking what? What you want is one team to score and the other team to not score, right, from their own 20-yard line.
No. Yeah.
You said each gets one chance. I'm just going off what you just said.
Yeah.
So they each get one chance, all right? Now, I kick a field goal, and then they get a chance. They kick a field goal. And then what? I got to go and get another chance again,
You got to do it again. Yeah,
from
like
the
in
20-yard line. Now, what happens when I don't score and then they don't score? And then I don't score, and then maybe we just now gone a whole damn period and no one else scored after the first 2 field goals. We're sitting here for another hour, bro. At least with college, they give you, and I'm not 100% on these rules, but at least with college, they give you a determined amount of times from the 20 each until somebody can't score, right? Can it go more than 10 times?
No, what happens is after a certain amount of times, you can't kick an extra point. You have to go for 2.
See, so they kind of force you to do that, which I'm not a fan of the college rules like that.
Yeah.
Because it does make sense to start. If you're going to do it like that, it makes sense to start them from the 20, the opposing 20 more, because it's a shorter drive. You start them from their own 20, dog. Like I said, each drive could be 4 to 6, 7, 8 minutes sometimes. You're talking about adding another hour to the game. Midfield, now you're talking 1 first down, you're in field goal range. I'm about working for your position, right? Like if you don't deserve to kick a field goal if you didn't work your way down the field to get in field goal range. That's why I don't like the college rules in the first place. This team could not get in the red zone all damn day and get 1 pick 6 and tie the game up 7-7 at the end of regulation. And now they get multiple opportunities from the 20-yard line when we just held them out of the red zone the whole game. Nah, bro, it just don't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting
I was about to flip a coin
here. Yeah, that's what Marchu wants us to do.
I know. I was about to flip a coin, but it's just certain stuff, bro, that you can tell me whatever you want. And I'm like, I'm dying on this hill here.
It's
the
cool.
Overtime rules are fine. I think they're fine. The coin toss, though, I will say, if people want to like have their gripe about the coin toss, the one way to fix it is put the ball at the 50.
I mean, I think that's probably the best thing that came from this whole conversation.
You remember how dodgeball used to be? They didn't just give you the balls for dodgeball. All the balls was at the midline, and we all started on the back line, and you had to go up there and go get your rubber ball until you could throw it at somebody. If you wanted to be completely fair, that's really the only way to do it.
Hey, look, this is a sign of a good conversation. Man, I think I agree with the Beard. They can go back to Authentic and back and forth. I don't know how I feel. Because listen, when we do have these conversations, it's important to listen to what the other person is saying, because they might bring something up that you didn't really think about, and then like it can completely change your outlook on the whole situation.
For sure.
So that's definitely a good sign of a good conversation.
I'm just a little bit just baffled that you missed the whole point of it being about the coin toss.
Yeah, no, because I'm so used to people complaining about the coin toss because they think that whoever wins the coin toss gets the ball first, and the other team doesn't have a chance to score. If
that other team scores.
Exactly.
But
because I've heard that argument so much.
That's where the advantage lies.
Yeah, but I didn't think that people really just wanted to get rid of the coin toss. It never crossed my mind.
They want an alternative to that, because where does the advantage lie in the overtime rules? It lies on the team that wins the coin toss.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
But see, so like my mind went to, okay, so how do we – I didn't even think about the whole scrapping of the coin toss. I just thought it was the outcome of the coin toss that people were relating to the coin toss. It never crossed my mind. Shout out to Stephen Lilly for the £2 super chat. Says rules are fair because both teams know the rules at the start. And yeah, that's just it's crazy to think that, you can't complain. You can't go through something and then complain about it when it doesn't go your way. It just, it's
I
not
mean,
a
if you would have asked before the game, right, who's got the advantage in an overtime period between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs?
My response is going to be whoever gets the ball first.
Whoever gets the ball first is definitely going to give you an advantage. And for me, I would think that the Bills have a better chance of stopping the Chiefs than the Chiefs did of stopping the Bills.
And what's crazy is, like, the way that this game started, I was like, oh, man, this is going right along where I thought it was with my 24-23 score. Because, I mean, it was 17-14 with, like, 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And then all hell broke loose, man.
And then they just turned up. And I talked about that earlier, man. Both these teams, the quarterbacks was the leading rusher and the leading passer in this one. And the Chiefs dominated, man. Time of possession. Not only that you could say that this is unfair, that they had this much time of possession. I mean, it was 37 minutes to 27 minutes, basically, that the Chiefs, ran the time of possession on the clock, man. And I don't know, man. I just think there's nothing you can really do to alter these rules that much. Oh, and I wanted to bring this to your attention too. They're Tim Tams.
They're not Tam Tams?
They're not Tam Tams. They're Tim Tams.
Are you sure?
Ate a couple of them things yesterday.
I'm dying right now on the inside.
They're
He's
Tim
like,
Tams.
and while I'm at it,
Right,
I'm
they're
gonna
Tim
let
Tams.
you know that I should have never said I win, you lose. It just said
I
authentic.
need to record that little clip now and start just putting that one out there. Straight up, dog. Straight up.
Man. Listen, shout out to everybody in the chat because you guys are just, I feel like this is like a legitimate brainstorm session right now with all of these rules.
Nah, this is good. This is good,
NBC games still going on
at 3 a.m., right? Right. And we're here in quadruple overtime. Patrick Mahomes will get the ball to start the period. Like, come on. I mean, can't do it like that. I'm cool with them just flipping the coin and whoever win the coin toss win the game. Straight up. Like,
You want to really make them angry?
I mean, dog, the game over. And it's called end of regulation for a reason. It's over. Flip that coin.
Oh,
Let's
man.
get to it, man. If your defense can't stop them, though, for real, I'm sorry, man. You don't deserve to be here. And Leslie Frazier, who I commended coming into last week's game and this week's game, I mean, he pretty much made some bonehead, terrible calls late in this game. One-on-one coverage on people where you're just like, how's Tyreek Hill open? How's Travis Kelce that open? You know, you had a cornerback playing Travis Kelce 5 yards on his outside shoulder. It looked like Patrick Mahomes just gave him a look like, hey, bro, run that seam. Hit him right in the numbers. And there you go. The Chiefs are in field goal range. And, you know, it's just more reason to not celebrate until that clock hits 00, or in this case, you know, hits the end of overtime or whatever. But, you know, that touchdown goes through the goalpost or across the touchdown line or whatever. But, you know, you saw the Buffalo Bills and their coaching staff trying to celebrate in this game. I even saw, like, Gabriel Davis, who had a hell of a game, over 200 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns. It's like one of the best wide receiver performances in the playoffs, most touchdowns by a wide receiver in the playoffs ever. But you saw him and Patrick Mahomes. There's 2 moments in this game that really stood out to me. Okay? Not Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to say Josh Allen. One was when Josh Allen got the ball back before they scored the go-ahead touchdown. Okay, so the Chiefs go down, they score. You see Tyreek Hill giving the deuces, bam, touchdown. I'm like, ooh. And Tyreek Hill doing the celebration. They didn't give him a penalty on that. They said that they could have gave him a penalty. He was not in the end zone, so it would have brought back the touchdown because the penalty occurred before crossing the line.
Rubbing so fast they couldn't see it.
No, they said that the moment was too big to make the call or something is what they said. But the rules are the rules, right? I've seen him flagged for that exact same thing before.
Yeah, before. Yeah.
And I know that he was probably thinking, like, it's whatever. We won the game, right? It's more reason to not celebrate until that game is completely over. But then you see you see Josh Allen on the sidelines right away. Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis are by him. He's telling everybody, calm down. And I saw him go like this. To me, that meant, we gonna be okay. I'm y'all quarterback. I'm going to go down here and score. I think he did a perfect job, okay? To leave 13 seconds left on the clock.
The 4th down play.
They scored on 4th down, right? Didn't they score on 4th down?
Yeah, but listen, this is the other thing too, is it's hard because there's so much happened in such a small period of time. The 4th down play where he almost got sacked and he ran for the 1st down.
Oh yeah.
And then that to me was one of the biggest plays of this whole crazy end of the game, because I mean, he should have been tackled 2 or 3 times on that play. And then both of these quarterbacks, and you mentioned it, both of these quarterbacks led their team in rushing. Both of these quarterbacks are what you need this in these quarterbacks these days, because and we talked about this so many times. You could be a running quarterback without being a running quarterback. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You have to – these defensive ends and linebackers are so big and so fast right now. You have to be able to elude them. And both of these guys did it at key moments in this game and were able to make big plays. And, I mean, just the arm strength of these 2 quarterbacks too, and just the speed of the players. I mean, it was just – I'm tired, right, just thinking about those last 2 minutes of the game. But I loved it, man. It was great. And you saw resilience. You know, you saw a guy in Josh Allen that if he's going up against any other quarterback, and I'll put the GOAT on that list, Tom Brady included, with 13 seconds left, he's not scoring. Rozelle brings up a really good point here, too, that I saw a lot of people talking about. Mahomes took 13 seconds, Dak 14 to cover the same amount of yards. It is pretty funny. It's more of a reason why I thought that the draw call with Dak Prescott was the right call. 14 seconds to run a draw
you're untouched to get down, get up, and spike the ball. That shouldn't be that hard. Patrick Mahomes went down here with 2 big pass plays to set his team up in field goal range. Dog, like, I want to say the field position was worse for the Kansas City Chiefs than it was for the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, and this is coaching. This is coaching. The fact that Kansas City had their timeouts.
No, they didn't have all 3 timeouts. They didn't. No.
They did have timeouts though. How do you, because the big play to Kelsey was in the middle of the field. That's how they had to call a time. They got to call the timeout and kick the field goal to send it to overtime. Because without the timeouts, you're not allowed. You're not going to be able to go in the middle of the field.
Yeah, but I just don't remember them having all 3 timeouts.
I don't know if they had all 3 timeouts, but they did have. Oh, they said yeah.
Steven's saying all 3. I did not know it was all 3. That definitely helps. I mean, you don't got to spike the ball, but still, my man went like 60 yards, bro.
I mean, listen, is obviously McDermott wasn't the only person, and there was, I'm sure everybody was like, if anybody's gonna do this, it's gonna be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The way that the game was going at that point, you kind of felt like they're going to find a way to get their kick a field goal and take this to overtime.
I didn't, bro.
You didn't?
I was on Xbox with Pat, bro, and I was like, yo, when Josh Allen throws that touchdown, we was sick, bro. We were sick. Like, damn, he going out like that. And then when Patrick Mahomes gets the first play, Patrick turned the game off. I'm like, Pat, yo, dog, they getting close. I'm like, they're getting close. And then they get the second one. I'm like, they're in field goal range, bro. Oh, my God. He's like, stop playing with me. He thought I was lying to him. So just, if they would have had like 30, I'd be like, all right, Patrick Mahomes probably it's going to be close.
But 13 seconds, you were like.
Seconds, I was like, hey, man, one mistake, bro. One mistake, and you done. You got
you're done.
Forget the mistakes. You got 2 downs to get
2
all the
perfect
yards.
You have to do 2 perfect plays.
You got to be perfect, and they were definitely perfect, man. And that it surprised me, and I think not enough people are talking about the legend of Patrick Mahomes. We talked about this a little bit off air too. Like, I saw all these tweets once Josh Allen scored, it was like, oh, the legend of Josh Allen. Josh Allen, dude is an incredible quarterback. But to be down 3 points like that with 13 seconds left in the game, I ain't never seen nothing like it. In all my years of watching football, I've never seen somebody come back like that and get it done with 13 seconds like that. With all the pressure cooking on a guy who has set the bar for himself. Y'all know how we do. And he lived up to it, man.
Yeah.
The dude lived up to it. We ain't never seen nothing like that. And just the ending. You would think that a game like this could just end on the Tyreek Hill touchdown, right? And it's like, dang, that was a great finish, man. Tyreek Hill comes up with the big touchdown to put them over. They win the game. Josh Allen comes back down. It could have ended right there, and you'd have been like, man, that was one of the best games I ever saw, bro. Josh Allen rallied them down. I think they had under a minute when they got the ball back. You go down there, you score, 13 seconds left. Can you imagine being a Buffalo Bills fan, bro? Just imagine if that was Washington. How sick you would be. There was a game y'all lost this year that was kind of like that, where y'all left some time on the clock, and I don't know if we were doing a play-by-play or not. I can't remember.
We were, but I know exactly what you're talking. We ended up winning, but we got really close to losing. I think it was the Falcons game that it happened. When
they got right down there in like 20 seconds, under 20 seconds or something like that.
I remember yelling at Frank the Tank and being like, bruh, come on, man. And it was literally, I think it was 13 seconds left, too.
Yeah, I remember it was like something impossible.
I'm pretty sure it was the Falcons.
Y'all end up sneaking away with the victory, man. I mean, that is just, And Kai brings up a good point there, too. 3 timeouts or not, what Mahomes did was legendary.
Don't take anything away
I don't
from
know
that.
if there's a bigger moment, man. I don't know if there's a bigger moment.
There's not.
And Eli Manning, maybe? Maybe Eli Manning?
Yeah. Super Bowl, man.
I'll say outside of the Super Bowl, because I got to put San Antonio Holmes catch. That was another one. I don't know if you remember how that game ended, but it was Pittsburgh, Arizona, because Fitzgerald had scored the drive before that. They were going back and forth in that game. San Antonio Holmes had an opportunity to catch that pass, the down before in the back of the end zone. And I've seen stories now that have came out later. San Antonio Holmes talking about this in interviews where he went to Roethlisberger and said, bro, I need the ball. I need the ball. So covered or not, Roethlisberger lets that go. Double coverage, San Antonio Holmes in the back of the end zone. That's one of those moments, too, because what's riding.
Big shout out to Travis Kelce too on the feet work, the catch, the throw from
Beast.
Mahomes to end the game. I mean,
Unfortunate not to get
Jesus.
over the 100 yards for Travis Kelce. He was at like 96, and that would have been 5 straight games with 100 yards. But he showed up, man. And the Chiefs, to me, the better team won the game.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I give
The
you
better
that.
team
But
won the game.
But it's not, would you say that this is that? I mean, it sucks if you're a fan of a team in the AFC right now and you just saw the way that these two teams play, right? You'd have to think that this could be the Brady Manning sort of situation for the next few years, at least.
For sure.
I mean,
Sure. But the good thing about that is this game didn't happen in the championship round. This happened in the divisional round. So even when you got two juggernauts at the quarterback position like that, you're still going to have opportunities to try to get there and maybe sneak your way into a Super Bowl or maybe make a little bit of a run like an Eli Manning or Nick Foles. So, yeah, we got two guys that are redefining the position. I think that both of them are unicorns at the quarterback position because they can both run and they can both pass. They both have incredible arm talent. They both have pre-snap savvy like the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. They literally can do it all. And I think they put the league on notice, man. All teams is looking like, what's up with my quarterback situation? Am I close to that? Because if I'm not, I can't compete with that. There's no way you're going to bring a guy like, I'm not even going to use the New York Giants or the Washington football team as a comparison to this. But there's no way you could bring a guy like Jalen Hurts into the mix with quarterbacks like that. It's no way. He's not going to stand a chance. And I talked about this last show. I said, when I'm picking my teams for this weekend, I'm picking the teams that got the playmakers. I'm going to match up the playmakers, and I'm picking the better of the bunch. When you look at Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Devin Singletary, and Josh Allen, who made up most of what happened on offense for the Buffalo Bills in comparison to Pat Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Byron Pringle, and sometimes Mecole Hardman, they got the better offense. Dawson Knox, he had the big drop in this game. He was relatively not even there. 2 receptions for 9 yards to go against Travis Kelce's 8 catches for 96 and a touch. Come on, man. Byron Pringle had 5 catches for 29 yards. Stephon Diggs had 3 receptions for 7 yards. I don't care if you triple covered. You cannot get locked down in a playoff game like that and expect to win.
Yeah, you can't. This is one good question before we do over-unders.
I got to go with the Eli to Manningham. The Eli to Tyree is a bigger moment. The Eli to Manningham was better. Throw, catch. There was a lot of Daniel Jones going on in the Eli to Tyree, if you know what I'm saying. A lot of goofiness.
It was very movie like. You know, like that
movie like the ball up, you.
Dun, 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 dun. No, like there was just like so much happening before the scramble. Everything that happened before. I think that's what sucks is the catch was so crazy, the throw was so crazy. I think everybody kind of downplays everything that happened before the throw.
Nah, no, they don't, bro. Look, they could have blown the whistle, bro. They had Eli Manning by the shirt with no forward progress for like a second and a half. Eli was like, "Get him off me." Terrible throw. I mean, Tyree's wide open in the middle of the field. Eli almost overthrew him. He panicked, but hey, it was a great moment, man. You know, we beat the undefeated Patriots, and I think that's what made it a bigger moment, a bigger, better moment. In 2011, we didn't have the undefeated Patriots. You know, we had a great team we were going up against, and we was playing with house money. I'll never forget watching the second Super Bowl. We was at Pietro's crib, and we had a couple of homies over there that were Patriot fans. And you know, I was just kind of like, this is house money, man. Like, I don't care if we lose. We already beat them. We already beat them when they were undefeated. They could get revenge here, and we still own them. Eli is still Tom Brady's dad. The catch by Manningham, the equilibrium to lean his body to the side like that and get both feet down. I don't think we've seen a catch that good since that catch, to be honest. I haven't seen no catch like that.
The Arizona player on the fake punt.
The Arizona player on the fake punt.
And was that
I can't remember.
Week 18?
I don't remember it.
Oh, man.
Like, I've seen some spectacular catches. Like Odell's catch is difficult. The catch against the Cowboys, it's the most spectacular catch. But when you compile the moment that's happening there with Eli, man, this is do or die moment, bro. It has to happen on this play, or it's not going to happen. That's just, man. That's why Eli first ballot Hall of Famer to me, dog. It's them kind of moments like that. Like, my man just was just like cool as a cucumber. Just, all right, whatever. Third and whatever. I'm going to drop this on a dime. And we see that play now, and people were like, oh, safety's over the top. I'll never forget this one. It happened with Daniel Jones earlier this year with Kenny Galladay in a game where a lot of people were pointing out Kenny Galladay is open. And even Reggie Wayne said, oh, no, but you're going to get him killed with the safety over the top on Twitter. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, Eli Manning wasn't thinking about no damn safety when he threw that ball to Mario Manningham. He's just like, I'm going to put this in a place where my guy can get it.
We'll worry about the safety later.
Yeah, I'll let him worry about turning his whole equilibrium to the side and making a catch and not getting hit. You know what I'm saying? But, like, yeah, big moment for me, man. I love that. I don't think we're ever going to get one like that, man. I don't know. Maybe not in our lifetime, because that was like my team. I'm watching my team go through that.
That's I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Only thing that's bigger than that is the Patrick Mahomes drive. But the crazy part is Patrick Mahomes drive is to tie it up. And I think that Eli got a little bit on him on that because it was to win the game.
Man, he's a Giants. Ignacio, I don't want to throw Heinicke to the curb. I am not opposed to drafting a quarterback. I think we're going to explore all options. I mean, I'd love to bring Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams here together. I think that'd be a great, fit for Washington. But, that's dream la land. But as of right now, I think we're probably going to end up in the same sort of situation that we were in this year, except for we'll draft a quarterback in the first round possibly, and I think we'll go with another stopgap quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and keep Heinicke. I think Kyle Allen's days are over, but I think that'll probably be that's going to be the situation: a vet, a Heinicke, and a rookie. I think that's what we'll probably be
somebody going to be the odd man out over there, I think. Washington at this moment in time would do their fan base and their team a disservice by not addressing the quarterback. I'm going to keep it real with you. And I'm a big Taylor Heinicke fan. I think he's a solid guy. But the measurables and the skill set, it's just not there. I think he's a winner, and you could win games with him if you're running the ball effective. And this is a guy I was definitely not hype about going into this season, but dare I say he will be an upgrade, like how when people are asking me about Daniel Jones and Garoppolo, y'all might want to go out there and get Jameis Winston.
You know what? Listen, I'm not opposed to that. You know that.
It wouldn't be a massive upgrade, but it would be an upgrade. I think he can do everything that Taylor Heinicke does, and some more.
And yeah, this the thing is, for me, like, if you put Taylor Heinicke and Jameis Winston, and then you only have Terry McLaurin, get in the game, Jameis, because I know Jameis is going to at least chuck it up to Terry McLaurin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I feel like it opens up the playbook a little bit more for me. So, but like I said, I'm not going to just throw Heinicke to the curb, because in all reality, we know, especially in a 17-game season, you got to have a backup. And I think Taylor Heinicke plays his best football in that sort of emergency role.
Right, a little pressure on him coming in. Like, hey, can you do something? Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Philly Mike said Heinicke or Pickett. I mean, I like Pickett, but I don't like starting the quarterbacks right off the bat. But a lot of them who have success are the ones who do start day one. That is a thing, which is why I'm so concerned about Daniel Jones, because day one just didn't look that great. Ooh, Philly Mike said, what about Matt Ryan? Good veteran. He'd make y'all better ball club.
I mean, is there anybody that wouldn't?
I mean, there's not many. I think you're better off sticking with Taylor Heinicke over every free agent that's out there right now, except Matt Ryan, if he is a free agent. I'm not sure if this is the last year on his contract
or Mariota?
Not. Mariota is kind of like
Jameis Winston's a free agent, I think.
Jameis Winston is a free agent. That's why I brought him up.
You got to remember, he's coming off the injury.
Yeah, torn ACL. But quarterbacks, that's not it's not like a running back type thing or a wide receiver where you got to rely on cutting so much, I feel like. Yeah. Once it's healed, it's a healed kind of thing. You saw Joe Burrow bounce back off that injury, pretty flawlessly. But yeah, Mariota's kind of like, it's a gamble. If you could get him for cheap, we haven't even really seen the dude throw the ball a lot lately. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looks good when he's running.
Yeah, he does.
Somebody said Mitchell Trubisky.
David Carr, yeah. Trubisky,
Derek,
listen, I'm not
Derek
opposed
Carr.
to it.
David Carr's the older brother, right? Am I tripping?
Yeah.
Derek
David
Carr
Carr
is
is
the younger
older.
one.
Derek
Y'all
Carr,
said David Carr. I was like, what, you about to come out the broadcasting booth?
I do want to say I completely disagree with this, Ignacio. I think Ron Rivera I don't know if he really came in with much hype. I don't know if that's what it is, but considering everything that he's had to deal with since the second he's walked into this building, I think he's done an absolute tremendous job. He's got an NFC championship, but yeah, 7-9, but it's a championship, NFC East crown. So I mean, in his first year, considering the quarterback situations.
Ooh, I don't even like when you were saying that, I was like, what championship? What? 7-9? I thought Cam Newton was 15-1. You talking about y'all. Man, championship.
Yeah, but I think that, he's done a fabulous job. I think, we're in this microwave society. People want instant results, and they don't see it. So
that's Ron Rivera's second year, right?
Yeah, this year was his second year.
I wouldn't go as far as to say he's done a fantastic job simply off the strength that addressing the quarterback position 2 years in a row he botched badly.
Yep. So he has to definitely, and I think that's going to be the make or break of his legacy here.
And I think y'all are the kind of team that y'all are a quarterback away. I think if Deshaun Watson is out there, if Deshaun Watson is out there, and you could get him, I trade whatever. Like I'm very reluctant to trade our first two first-round draft picks for a guy like Deshaun Watson right now because New York Giants, it's a bad team, okay? There's not many. We don't got 4 first-rounders on our defensive front, okay? We don't got the kind of talent y'all have at wide receiver even. I mean, with a guy like Terry McLaurin still on a rookie deal playing number 1 wide receiver football with number 2 quarterbacks, right? I think if you brought in a quarterback, Washington could go from being a 7-win team to at least a 9-win team, 10-win team probably.
That's the other thing, too. They're going to have to lock up McLaurin. They're going to have to give him that extension.
Yeah, which they got to. And I don't know where y'all sitting as far as the cap, but I don't remember y'all being around the bottom of the league.
We're top 7 in cap space, I think.
Yeah, so y'all straight.
But you remember what I say.
Yeah, cap space,
map space.
I wouldn't be surprised if y'all pulled the trigger on a really good quarterback like a Russell Wilson or a Deshaun Watson. I wouldn't be surprised. Or if Tennessee is up to trade a guy like Tannehill and they don't think he can get them over the hump, a guy like that. I don't see y'all going with another question mark at the quarterback position like a Mitchell Trubisky, a Taylor Heineke, even a Jameis Winston. I think y'all would rather go with a guy like Taylor Heineke if you're going to try to exhaust options that are pretty much in the same kind of bubble. You got to make that move, man. 2 years in a row, 7 wins. Washington football team is exactly who we think they are. They're a team that's lacking the quarterback position. Obviously, a guy who can go above and beyond the X's and O's, especially when the running game ain't working. I like Taylor Heineke when the running game is working, but he's going to catch a lot of flack when y'all can't run the ball because he can't put a team on his back to win games. So, for me, I think it's an alley-oop for you guys to go out there and get a guy like Russell Wilson or go out there and get a guy like Deshaun Watson. It'd be perfect here in Washington, too.
They got to want to come here. That's the big thing. So, we'll see how next. Oh, wow. Holy smokes. Okay. We're like 8 days away, man, from the new name.
Yeah, yep. I think everybody kind of know what it is too, but we'll get it official.
I might have to go live for that early morning.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Name reveal party.
Did they got a time they're releasing to that?
It's on Good Morning America.
So 9 a.m. type vibes.
Yeah.
You know I don't be up that early.
I know you don't, but
catching them good Z's. But I won't mind cutting my evening short to come check you out, man. Talk about the Washington football team's new name. Defenders is what they saying it is.
And some people say Defenders, some people say Commanders.
Look,
somebody said, I just received this package. It wasn't delivered to me, and I opened it up, and it's full of Red Hog T-shirts. I called the post office, and they're coming to pick it up immediately. Come on, man. Y'all be out here doing
like if you found some Red Hog stuff in the mail, you would call the post office and be like, hey, I got this package. You guys can pick it up, and I'm keeping that. That stuff going to be worth big bucks. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I know you wasn't a fan of the Sentinels, but I kind of like the Sentinels off the strength of X-Men. I like that.
Just as long as it's not the damn presidents, okay?
Presidents will be crazy. That don't always represent good here in America. You know what I'm saying? Like presidents, come on, dog.
Because
not a good resume.
No, not a good resume.
All right, you want to hit these over-unders one time?
COVID has slowed down. We've gotten through the horrible Omicron outbreak, and now we're waiting for the next variant. That's why you haven't heard about it in the playoffs.
I'm waiting on health insurance for all Americans, Mr. Biden. That's what I'm waiting on. You know all that talk they was talking, taxes and health insurance and all that stuff when they was running. I don't like to do politics here too much, but I ain't seeing too much Kamala Harris. I'm going to keep funky with you.
Yeah, we're
All right, let's hit these over-unders, man. Try to get out of here in under 3 hours, thanks to the overtime rules from the NFL. Appreciate you guys on that one. Shout out to the chat, sticking with us here. All right, let's see. All right, we're going to start here with Josh Allen. And we had Josh Allen over 260 yards.
Nope, we never did that one.
Didn't do that one. He did go over that one. Stephon Diggs over 70 yards receiving versus Chiefs. I take it we both got this wrong?
We didn't do that one.
We didn't do this one either. I don't know, man. Maybe your record. Okay, Josh Allen over 50 yards rushing versus Chiefs.
We both hit this.
That's what's up. That's good to know. That's good to know. Dawson Knox over 60 yards receiving versus Chiefs.
We both went under.
Smart move. Josh Allen over 2.5 touchdowns versus the Chiefs.
We both went over.
It's looking pretty good here. That smile tells me you won, though. I'm not fooled. I'm not fooled here. Patrick Mahomes over 279 yards passing versus the Bills.
We both went over.
Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 touchdowns versus the Bills.
I took the under. You took the over.
And he went over, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My God. Kelsey over 70 yards receiving versus the Bills.
We both took the over.
And he did get over, in fact. Ooh, this is where things get a little dicey. Jerick McKinnon over 90 scrimmage yards versus the Bills.
We both took the under, but he got close. He had a pretty good game.
We took the under on that.
Yeah.
Thought I took
because
the over
we
on
were worried about Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back.
We were. Good point. Tyreek Hill over 70 yards receiving versus the Bills.
I took the under. You took the over.
Oh, man, this looks like an authentic victory. Singletary over 59 yards rushing versus Chiefs. I think I took the over on this, right?
We both took the over. Yeah.
Ooh. So what I beat you by? Two over-unders?
You went 8-1 on that game on the over-unders.
Ooh, the boy.
And I went 6-3.
Yeah, authentic. The champ is here, man. The champ is here. I'll take my money in singles.
So this divisional round, Authentic went 23-14 on the over-unders, and the Beard went 21-16. So you have a 3-point lead right now.
That's what's up. Marjorie says no Gabriel Davis questions. We didn't expect Gabriel Davis to go out here and do his best impersonation of Jerry Rice, man. I definitely did not see it coming. We didn't do two of the over-unders for this segment, but both of them weren't about Gabriel Davis. But if you've been watching, Marjorie, I know you've been watching. We definitely talk about Gabriel Davis a lot on the parlay, give him a lot of props, good fantasy player, wide receiver 2 kind of position guy. Looking for him to step it up in the regular season. He only had one 100-yard game throughout the regular season. This was his second of the entire season. Big ups to him on a big game, man. Unfortunately, they had to take the L to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah, man. So go Travis Kelce and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They're the last two players I have in the underdog best ball tournament. I am in the semifinals, so wish me luck, guys.
I see
Thursday.
that the Wizards just lost on a 4-point play last second. Come on, dog. What's going on? What are we doing over here in Washington, man?
The Wizards are wizarding.
Philly Mike said Washington revolvers. You know, we had a problem with the bullets already, so I don't know if the revolvers is going to work the way crime is set up out here in D.C., boy. Woo!
Yeah.
Nah, but, man, shout out to all of y'all for rocking with us, man, for a good another 3 hours with Authentic and The Beard, man. This was a really fun one, man. A little bit heated on the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs overtime rules, man. I think we did our thing on this one. Make sure to tune in on Thursday, man. We're going to be doing some previews, some more over-unders. I think we'll keep it to about 7 over-unders. Well, I mean, being now that we got less games, we do only got 2 games, maybe we can go hand.
And look, maybe what I'll do is I'll mix some of the stuff up, and we can put together one bet for the 2 games, and we'll let the chat get involved, and we'll play that bet on Underdog.
That's a bet, man. You keep me in the loop. We'll make it work out. No problem. Definitely a solid show. Y'all know what it is. Catch us on Thursday, man. Until then, Twitter's going to be on fire for the next couple of days here. Maybe we give y'all a little bit of extra content during the week. We'll see. You said 6 days until y'all name y'all name?
8 days.
8 days.
There's 31 days in January, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So 8 days. So next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow morning.
A week from tomorrow morning. That's
oh my God, that came up so fast.
Yeah, that definitely did fly by. Shout out Stephen Lilly, man. Still rocking with us. 3 a.m. here, man. We got big love for you too, fam. Appreciate you pulling up. You know what it is. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all steady holding us down since day one. Y'all know what it is over here at Awthentik and The Beard, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams. We will see y'all on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, left side.
Strong side.
Let's see some biceps while we run these credits. Y'all know what it is, man. Peace.